Chapter 606. Under the concession of the Rain Country, Kumogakure got the land of the original Fire Country. After that, Kumogakure stopped for less than a month and began to attack the territory of the original Fire Country occupied by the Rain Country. Spiritual Network. Obito found Naruto, and his tone was full of anger. The Raikage has become more and more unscrupulous recently. Yesterday, the granary of the western town was burned, and several farm animals were poisoned. This time it's just livestock and soon it'll be people. Are we just going to watch? Naruto replied. Isn't that good? It's in line with the plan. The more irritable and arrogant he is, the more arrogant he is. Although that's what he said. Obito still felt suffocated. No matter what, those people are now his people. Naruto continued. Moreover, the more oppressed those people are now, the more grateful they will be when we save them. Obito felt his body become heavier. That kind of heaviness made him breathless. Let's find another way. Is there no other way? Obito's voice had a hint of pleading. Mercy, compassion, are the weaknesses of human nature, but also the most glorious side of human heart. Naruto didn't hate it. In fact, although Naruto said those cold words, he has already thought of a way. And the plan has been drafted, and Naruto is going to implement it even if Obito doesn't ask. People are not plants. How can they be ruthless? Moreover, Naruto is very protective of people. Naruto passed the drafted plan to Obito. Since you have come to beg me, then do as written. Obito received Naruto's information. He opened the information and read 10 lines at a glance. He was surprised. You want to move the people of the Wind Country to the Fire Country? What's the use of this? Naruto asked. You don't know? Obito was stunned. I don't know. The people of the Wind Country are not suffering much. If you pull them over, won't they also suffer? Naruto chuckled and replied. Then don't know. Just do as I say, and you'll know soon enough. Obito wanted to ask more, but Naruto had already hung up. During this time, Naruto has been paying attention to the movements of the Lightning Country. In the Land of Lightning, Kumogakure's group set fire to the granary of the Land of Rain's territory and killed livestock. Naruto saw it all. Then he found that this kind of atrocity only happened in the Fire Country. The Country of Wind, which was occupied by the Country of Rain, rarely had this kind of situation occur. Even if it did, it would be an extremely rare case. And the losses were not serious. It's not difficult to infer why. The Cloud Village's people of the Sand Village were naturally taken care of Sand's people. Naruto's plan was to move the people of the Land of Wind to the Land of Fire, and let them live together with the people of the Land of Fire. In this case, you burning rice? Livestock. Then let the Wind Country Village's people starve together. By then Naruto won't have to trouble the Raikage. The Sunagakure ninjas under Raikage will also cause trouble. Although Obito didn't understand the reason. But in the end he still followed Naruto's instructions. Naruto's words seemed to have a magical power for him. Whether it was right or wrong, whether he was willing or not, in the end, he would do what Naruto said. Obito didn't realize this himself. After the people of the Wind Country were scattered and lived with the people of the Fire Country, the effect was remarkable. In a month, the invasion of various areas was significantly reduced. Obito, who was originally depressed, was shocked by Naruto's plan. A seed called Naruto is right silently sprouted in Obito's heart. Naruto, what is going on? Naruto was also surprised by Obito. You still haven't figured it out? Obito was embarrassed as he racked his brain. Because what? Naruto began to worry about Obito's IQ. Did Kodo Amatsukami affect Obito's IQ? It's really possible. Naruto thought of the husky with the wolf bloodline. He's so stupid. Naruto began to dispel Obito's doubts. Obito suddenly realized and said, Oh, it's so simple. Why didn't I think of it at the beginning? Naruto didn't want to judge this anymore. Now that this matter is solved, the Raikage must have a thorn in his heart. No one likes a disobedient subordinate. I believe it won't be long before the Raikage launches a general attack on the Fire Country. And on the grounds of protecting the people of the Wind Country, the Sand Village's ninjas rushed to the front line as cannon fodder. Obito asked, Then what are we going to do next? If we kill those people, won't the Raikage get what he wants? Obito thought for a moment and continued. Then can't we just kill them and then withdraw directly? Naruto asked. Have you seen anyone give up the land directly? Even if it's acting, can't you be more professional? Obito was in a dilemma. Then what should we do? We can't kill those people. Naruto rolled his eyes. Who said we can't kill them? The more ethnic they are, the sooner we kill them, the better. This will make the Raikage less worried, and it will also make me less worried in the future. These people will be left alive to Tion's independence in the future. I'm too lazy to play with them. Kill them all. Make a situation where both sides lose, and we will be forced to return to the Rain Country. Then the Akatsuki will also pack up and move to the Wind Country. There is no one there perfect. Naruto just hung up with Obito. Obito then received a mysterious letter. The letter claimed to be from Iwagakure, and wanted to discuss an alliance with the Rain Country. Obito found Naruto again, and passed the letter to Naruto. Naruto couldn't help but laugh after reading the letter. Iwagakure was much smarter than Tsunagakure. Tsunagakure directly joined the Lightning Country for revenge. Iwagakure, on the other hand, claimed to be an independent country, and wanted to discuss cooperation with the Rain Country. This was one thing, and the other was the timing. They dared to do this mainly because the Lightning Country was suppressing the Rain Country, and they were sending charcoal in the snow. The choice seemed to be a loss. The person who could make this decision was also very bold. Do you want to see them? Obito understood Naruto's plan, and the Rain Country was going to lose Waterloo. Do you want to drag these people down with you? Naruto shook his head and said, It's not necessary now. Let them stay where they are. Obito didn't understand again. He hung up again. Naruto video called Tobirama and said, How's the daimyo of the Earth Country these days? Tobirama replied, He's in a good mental state, and he got a concubine yesterday. Naruto. Concubine? Naruto was so powerful, and he didn't have a wife yet. And even if he did, he could only dream about concubines. But Tobirama already got a concubine under his nose? Is he too good for the daimyo of the Earth Country? Forget it. Anyway, I need this person to help me in the future, so I'll let him get a concubine. A little loli appeared in Tobirama's projection and said with dissatisfaction, Naruto Oniai-san, I'm arguing with Tobirama about this. That old guy is over 60 years old, right? His hair is white, and he's ruining an 18-year-old girl. I can't stand it. This person was Tobirama's brother and sister-in-law, Uzumaki Mito. Well, the lowly version. Naruto Oniai-san, don't you think so? Can you bear it? Naruto said in his heart, no matter how old a man is, he likes an 18-year-old girl. But he firmly stood on the little lowly's side. I can't bear it. Uzumaki Mito was very excited, and her eyes were shining. Then let's go and get rid of the daimyo's concubine. Naruto Oniai-san, why aren't you talking? Don't you agree with Mito? Do you also think that it's right to find an 18-year-old girl at 60 years old? Then when you're 60 years old, will you also find an 18-year-old girl? Hinata is so pitiful, I'd better tell her. Naruto suddenly had a headache. He shouted, Stop. I promise you. Uzumaki Mito was even happier. Naruto Oniai-san, you're the best. But you can take a few more Uzumaki people. Did you find the girl named Karen? The sooner you find her, the sooner you marry her, and then give birth to a lot of small Uzumaki to strengthen my Uzumaki clan. Naruto's headache became bigger. Naruto Oniai-san, it's a pity that Mito can't have children, or we can make small Uzumaki now. Naruto. Naruto felt that the snow mountain was not suitable for him to stay. The Akatsuki organization was safer. Chapter 607. The Land of Thunder launched a general attack on the Land of Rain. The leaders of the Land of Rain disappeared. Just give up like this? Standing on the top of a mountain outside the Land of Rain, looking at the place where he lived for several years, Obito's heart was somewhat reluctant to part with it. The nepenthes on top of Obito's head opened and closed. One black and one white Inyang face had a doubtful expression. Who are you asking? Isn't this your idea? Why do you regret it? Obito was suddenly surprised and noticed Zetsu beside him. he replied, a little. The nepenthes on top of Zetsu's head opened and closed somewhat slowly. This was a small detail that Zetsu inadvertently revealed when he was thinking. Naruto looked at Zetsu and raised his eyebrows. Although he didn't know what was going on in Zetsu's head, Zetsu had suspected Obito for a long time. Mask Gidge, we will come back, right? The cute little girl pulled the corner of Obito's clothes. Obito turned his head and touched the little girl's head and asked, "Does Lin also like the land of rain?" The little girl seriously said, "Lin likes to be with everyone, as long as I am with everyone." Very cute answer. The hearts of all the old men present couldn't help but be touched. Obito rubbed Lin's head and praised, "Lin is so obedient." Scale's face revealed a complacent expression. Then when can Scale truly become a member of the organization? Obito replied, "Lin is now a member of the organization." Lin pouted, "I mean to become a real member, the kind with strength, and wear a ring like you." Obito pinched the little girl's cheek. "If you want a ring, you have to practice more diligently." Looking at the big and small happy appearance in front of him, Naruto suddenly felt a sense of crisis. Originally, he was the one who spread dog food to Obito, but now Obito wanted to overtake him. The members of the Akatsuki organization left the land of rain. Like a hot knife through butter, the country of lightning broke through all obstacles and conquered the country of rain. Raikage was among them, standing in the capital of the land of rain, but there was not much joy on his face, but more dignified. The strength of Akatsuki had once given him a great shock. It can be said that without the participation of the Akatsuki, Woodleaf wouldn't have lost to Kumogakure. Although the Akatsuki group suffered heavy losses in that battle, they still had the strength to fight against him. But now, he had left without a fight. What did he mean? Or perhaps, these people did not leave, but were still watching him from some corner of the country? Thinking of this, Raikage shuddered. He couldn't help but look around. Search every region. Gather everyone in the square first. Under Raikage's order, the people under him started to move. But after they gathered together, Raikage didn't know what to do, because he didn't know what the leader of Akatsuki organization looked like. Should he kill all of them? All of you listen up. I want to find your leader. If you can't find it, I'll kill all of you. Hearing this, a little girl in the crowd suddenly burst into tears. Raikage looked at the child. He frowned and shouted, "Separate the women and children." This time, the crowd was in chaos, but after seeing blood and killing people, they calmed down again. Raikage shouted, "Separating the women and children is giving them a way to live. If you make trouble again, all of you will die together." The crowd cooperated. There were also some old people with their hands together, closed their eyes, and muttered in their mouths as if they were praying to God. This scene made Raikage nervous. He thought that the person was going to release a ninjutsu. Seeing that they were praying to God, Raikage disdainfully said, "There is no God in this world. You should pray that your leader will take pity on your lives and come out by yourself." After the crowd was separated, the women and children were taken elsewhere. Raikage shouted, "I won't give you too much time. Tell me the whereabouts of your leader. Otherwise, I will kill one person in a second. Get ready. Now start." 1. The ninja of the lightning country held a sword and clamped it on the neck of one of the rain country's people. The sword fell, and a person's head was cut off. There was no hesitation in the middle. It was as natural and casual as cutting vegetables. After cutting one person, the sword was placed directly on the neck of another person. 2. What happened in the rain country was in Naruto's perception enchantment. It was also under the eyes of White Zetsu. This made the Akatsuki, who was about to leave, stop. Obito gritted his teeth and said, "I want to kill this guy." This time, Obito learned his lesson and set it in the spiritual network. Naruto replied, "I also want to kill him, but I can't do it now." Zetsu said, "Raikage's means are quite hateful. It seems that he is planning to slaughter the country?" Naruto said, "Do you want me to kill him?" Obito wanted to nod, but according to Naruto's instructions he said, "Just go and teach him a lesson." Naruto replied, "Retract." With that, Naruto directly disappeared from the Flying Thunder God technique. The space coordinates left by Naruto in the Akatsuki There were too many flying thunder god technique. Most of the places he wanted to go. When Naruto reappeared, he was already sitting on a chair in the square. It was the square where Reikage gathered everyone. Naruto's appearance was disguised as Obito. Are you looking for me? In one sentence, the scene was silent. Reikage exhaled a long breath, turned around and said with a smile, "If you came out earlier, things wouldn't be as awkward as now." Reikage smiled very kindly and walked step by step toward Naruto. Naruto looked at Reikage. Reikage's arrogant look was very annoying. But the more he was like this, the more Naruto wanted to praise Reikage. Praise Reikage's plasticity is too excellent. Now Reikage has become what he wants Reikage to become. So if he really beat Reikage now, would he be scared of beating him up? Will he be restrained? If that's the case, the loss will outweigh the gain. Looking at such an excellent Reikage, Naruto was also surprised. Why don't you take the gift I gave you? Do you have to do this? Now that you've conquered the Rain Country, the people you're killing are your own people. Reikage didn't believe Naruto's words at all. He sneered. Are you mocking my IQ? If I didn't do this, you would still be hiding in the dark. Are you going to assassinate me when I'm not paying attention? What a good plan. Naruto couldn't make any expression with his mask on, so he shrugged. Whether you believe it or not, I was going to leave. Reikage took a deep breath. Let's stop talking about the past. It's meaningless to say anything now. You can only die here today. Chapter 608. You want to kill me? Naruto stared at Reikage, and his voice was full of playfulness. Reikage said coldly, Yes, today, I'm going to leave you here. Naruto suddenly disappeared and appeared behind Reikage, sneering. You think you're worthy? Reikage was shocked. Thunder and lightning burst out from his body, enveloping him in lightning. Reikage's taijutsu, lightning armor. Turn around. Lightning condensed on his elbow and hit directly behind him. Reikage's taijutsu, heavy current explosion. However, there was no one behind him. Reikage's body rotated to dissolve the force and stood still. Where is he? Reikage was inexplicably horrified. When he looked up, he found that Naru was standing not far in front of him. Looking at him, Reikage said, How did you do it? Even if it's the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, you need to mark the Flying Thunder God Jutsu first. Reikage and Yondaime Naruto fought, and he thought that he knew the Flying Thunder God Jutsu very well. But today he found that Naruto was not in his understanding at all. Naruto said, You want to know? I'll tell you. Naruto attacked. He raised his hand and directly grabbed Reikage. Reikage activated the lightning armor to the extreme and used taijutsu to fight back. But the next moment, Naruto disappeared, and at the same time his abdomen was hit hard. Naruto seemed to teleport directly in front of him. It easily pierced through his lightning armor. How is it possible? How can this person be so powerful? Reikage was hit hard in the abdomen, and he felt that he couldn't breathe. He hadn't had this experience for a long time. The last time he was taught a lesson by Reikage. I'll tell you. Naruto lifted Reikage, then disappeared with Reikage and entered the inner world of Preserved Egg. What everyone saw in the Rain Square was completely different from what happened in reality. In their eyes, Reikage and the masked man were still fighting back and forth. This was one of the uses of the invisibility barrier, seen illusion. Inside the inner world of Preserved Egg, Reikage was thrown on the dry ground by Naruto. It took a while for Reikage to recover. Naruto continued. If you want to know, I'll tell you. Within 1 kilometer of my body, as long as I want, I can teleport at will without using Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Because within 1 kilometer, it's my domain. Then he pointed at his feet. And this is my world. It's not just 1 kilometer. As long as I'm in this world, I can teleport anywhere I want. To be able to teleport within a radius of 1 kilometer at will, what an insane ability. Reikage's first reaction was that he was bluffing and trying to confuse him. This caused him to misjudge again. But where was this place? As far as the eye could see, it was a wasteland. There was not a trace of greenery, only stones and sand. It was the desert next door. This place was very similar to the landscape of the land of origin. It also resembled the landscape of the original Wind Nation. Then this fellow in front of him brought him here? Wait a minute. There was another possibility, which was that he was under an illusion. Illusion. Yes. It was an illusion. Naruto didn't know what Reikage was thinking and said, "Originally, I planned to let you live happily for a year and a half. But now, I just want to beat you up." The body flicker technique was useless. Speeding up, Naruto punched Reikage's abdomen again. With Naruto's mastery of the mist release, Reikage's lightning armor was useless. Reikage only felt darkness in front of him, and he was directly sent flying. "Everything in front of me is an illusion. You can't fool me." Reikage took a breath and roared firmly. "Illusion? You can think of it as an illusion." Naruto didn't need to make any hand seals. Thousands of Naruto surrounded Reikage. What followed after was a hearty round of beating. Reikage was beaten by a group of people. Reikage was beaten very badly. His bones were broken, and he was almost beaten to a pulp. But Reikage didn't die. It's not that the injury wasn't serious, but Naruto didn't intend to let him die. After the ki was released, Naruto used medical ninjutsu to help Reikage recover. Reikage saw that Naruto was still a bit stubborn, and he still had his reason. "It seems that the lightning country is yours." Naruto took off his mask and lifted the blindfold. He smiled and said, "You are right, but not now." Naruto's 3-tomo Sharingan was looking at Reikage. Reikage smiled and said, "Sure enough, it was an illusion." Naruto didn't explain anymore. Just now, every punch was on the flesh, and it had nothing to do with illusion. Naruto operated the system, and soon a dragon eagle appeared in front of Naruto. This was a dragon eagle with only one Sharingan. Naruto muttered, "In order to beat you up, I spent a lot of money this time." Ghost bug technique. Long Ing and Naruto fused into one. A vertical eye appeared in the middle of Naruto's eyebrows. The vertical eye opened, and the 3-tomo Sharingan was upgraded to Manjikyu Sharingan. The Manjikyu Sharingan was Uchiha Shirsue's Koto Amatsukami. Naruto grabbed Reikage's hair and lifted him up. What a waste. In the Rain Country, Reikage was like a thunder god. He held Naruto's head with both hands, and then bombarded it to the ground. He directly hit Naruto deep in the ground. A big pit was left on the ground. "Your leader has been killed by me. From today on, the Rain Country will be erased, incorporated into the Lightning Country." On a big tree, White Zetsu's head stared at the scene in front of him. He passed on what happened to Zetsu. At the same time, on a building, 2 people, one tall and one short, were also watching the scene in front of them. Then there was one more person beside these 2 people. "You also brought the little girl here?" The little girl said to Naruto, "You are so bad, you were beaten without any power to fight back." Naruto, "That's all fake, okay? It was obviously him who beat Reikage." "That's fake." The little girl shook her head again and said, "I clearly saw you being beaten. And you were the one who pretended to be my masked Gige and got beaten up. You are so bad." Naruto instantly moved in front of the little girl, pinched the little girl's nose, and then instantly moved behind the little girl to scare her. But he didn't expect the little girl to look at him as if nothing happened and asked, "Why did you pinch my nose? Who told you to pinch my nose?" Naruto felt embarrassed. But that's not the point. The point is, how did the little girl know that he would appear behind her? Is it possible that Obito often uses this trick to tease the little girl? Naruto once again disappeared in the blink of an eye. This time he appeared above the little girl's head, floating. However, the little girl looked up at him and said, "It's very impolite to stand on other people's head and stare at them." Naruto, what the hell is this little girl? Can she really find him? What's going on? Obito stood on the side and watched the show. When Naruto looked at him, he didn't say anything. Naruto could only come down again and appear in front of the little girl. "How did you find me?" The little girl tilted her head and looked at Naruto with a look of disgust. "I just saw you. Is it very obvious?" Obito cleared his throat. "Well, since the matter is done, let's go. Otherwise, we will be discovered." In the spiritual network, Naruto asked Obito, "What's the matter with this little girl?" Obito finally stopped playing dumb and replied. This little girl is born with the ability to use spatial ninjutsu, and has a very keen perception of spatial ninjutsu. A girl born with the ability to use spatial ninjutsu? How come he doesn't remember such a character in Naruto? Chapter 609. Early in the morning, Naruto received a very shocking news. The daimyo of the Land of Lightning is dead. Naruto, how long do you have to wait for your plan? Now Tian is urging me to catch the Hachibi. After the destruction of the Land of Rain, the Land of Wind under the control of the Land of Rain will be merged into the Land of Lightning. At that time, the 5 major countries will be unified, and the Land of Lightning will be only a few small countries away from unifying the world. The plan has to wait. When the Land of Lightning destroys those small countries, it will be almost done. Since he wants the Land of Lightning to be the villain, he will let it be the villain thoroughly. However, the Hachibi can be caught now. Do you want to go this time or do you want to go? Hearing Naruto ask who will go, Obito's face was a little hot. Last time, when he caught the Sambai, he screwed it up. This time, he will avenge his shame. I will go. This time I promise there will be no problem. Naruto didn't argue with him. If he can avoid doing it himself, he is generally too lazy to do it. Well, I will leave it to you. Although I feel that there should be no problem, I remind you that it's best to do your best and don't screw it up again. Obito promised, don't worry, without Jiraiya's trouble, there will be no problem. But he didn't want to be poured a basin of cold water by Naruto. Jiraiya ran away, and he is not in my hands now. Obito was confused. How did he run away? Naruto didn't care. While the seal was not paying attention, he ran away. Obito was even more confused. What does he mean by taking advantage of the seal's not paying attention? Could it be that the seal could be dozing off? How long has he been running? Naruto said. He ran away not long after we caught him. Now he is either a cat in the land of snow or has slipped back to the territory of the 5 major countries. Hearing this, Obito felt a little guilty and muttered to himself, how could I let him run away? Naruto glanced at Obito. Are you blaming me? Obito shook his head and said, no, I blame the seal. Why didn't it pay attention to it? It is too irresponsible. Naruto. Obito's ability to point at mulberry trees and scold locust trees had improved. Naruto's small eyes continued to stare at Obito. Obito finally couldn't help but change the topic. I suddenly remembered that I still have to wear scales to practice. Lin, this child is so naughty. Whenever I don't pay attention, he will slip away and refuse to train hard. So, I want to. He was admitting defeat and did not want to catch the 8-tailed beast. Naruto directly interrupted. No need, I also know spatial ninjutsu, and I'm very familiar with it. While you're catching the Hachibi, I'll help you carry the scales. Obito instantly cursed. This. With a smile in his eyes, Naruto looked at Obito in amusement. What's wrong? Can't bear to. Don't tell me you have other thoughts about the little loli? Obito was like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He nervously replied, no. So excited? Something happened. Naruto looked at Obito in amusement. Obito turned his face away. Because of nervousness, the speed of his speech became a bit faster. That's it, leave the 8-tailed beast to me, and help me carry scales to practice for a few days. I'll go now. Obito couldn't stand Naruto's gaze, and directly slipped away. Watching Obito disappear in front of his eyes, Naruto's smile became fainter and fainter. There was a little thought, and some doubts. Naruto thought of the little loli named Lin. Since learning that Lin was born with spatial ninjutsu, Naruto began to pay attention to her. After all, the original world is still developing. Naruto didn't have such a character. If it's because of his influence, maybe it makes sense. After all, because of his existence, the underground exchange was not destroyed by the Akatsuki. In this way, maybe he changed a certain event and let the little girl who should have been implicated live. But this is just a guess. There is another possibility, that this girl, she's someone who has disappeared for a long time and can't be found. That girl has a history of being a girl. So it's not impossible for her to become a little loli. Just in time, While Obito went to catch the eight-tailed beast, Naruto decided to test and observe her. If it's true, then things will be interesting. When he thought that the girl Obito likes is actually that girl, when he thought that the two of them are together, Naruto felt that he couldn't help but want to smile. There was an indescribable joy in his heart. That kind of mood is called excitement. Is he going to make them together, or make them together? Of course, I'm going to make them together. Naruto stepped out of the door and came to the little Loli's room. The door was knocked. Inside the room, Obito was explaining to Lin that in the next week or half a month, Naruto will take Lin's place to practice. Lin's expression was very unhappy. She pouted and looked very cute. The one outside seems to be the annoying guy you said. Lin said angrily. Obito pinched Lin's face. Don't let that guy hear this sentence. That guy is super narrow-minded. Outside the room, Naruto's expression was indifferent. He heard it. The soundproofing of the Akatsuki's room is really not good. Inside the room, Obito waved to the little Loli, and a layer of spiral ripples appeared in the air. In the perception barrier, in Naruto's eyes, Obito was like rushing into a sewer. In the gurgling sound of water, he turned and was washed away. As soon as Obito left, the door was opened. The little Loli stared at Naruto angrily and said, "Masked brother ordered you to be my teacher?" Order? Little girl, you seem to have the relationship reversed. Of course, it's not reversed after all. The relationship between them is indeed like that. Yes, your big brother asked me to teach you cultivation. The little Loli asked, "But now it's noon. Masked brother said to take a nap at noon, so that I can grow taller quickly." Naruto praised. Your masked brother is right. Then I will wait for you to wake up and come again. The little Loli's cute big eyes blinked as she looked at Naruto. Naruto's face was modest and respectful. Finally, the little Loli nodded. Then you can come to me later. After saying that, she closed the door. Naruto looked at the closed door for a long time without saying anything. If this little girl is not that person, then she is really quite cute. But if she is, it's really exciting to think about. Naruto raised his hand. There was a layer of goosebumps on his arm. Then I will come back in 2 hours. Naruto gently shouted at the door, teleported, disappeared directly, and returned to his room. In the end, is she that person? Naruto was lying on the sofa, looking at the ceiling. Their faces overlapped in front of Naruto's eyes. They don't look alike at all. Whether she is or not, it's very interesting. Naruto's face was full of expectation. He closed his eyes and took a nap for 2 hours. Then he would have enough energy to explore. Chapter 610. 2 hours wasn't a long time. But the key was that Naruto overslept. When he woke up, the sun was setting. It was no longer afternoon, but evening. Was it because he was too tired recently? Naruto found a good excuse for himself. Did you sleep well? In order to let you grow a bit more, I deliberately came a bit late. Naruto stood in front of the little Loli's door. The little Loli looked at Naruto as if she would believe him. Oh, but I'm going to eat. It was already dark, so it was indeed time to eat. Then after eating, the little Loli continued. After eating, I'm going to sleep. How about you take me to cultivate tomorrow? Masked Gidge said that I have to sleep early and get up early. Naruto took a deep breath and agreed. Your Masked Gidge is absolutely right. But it's not too late now. I'll directly teleport you to the cafeteria. This will save a lot of time, and it's also good to take a stroll after eating and cultivate a bit. The little girl refused. I can teleport there myself, but I eat very slowly. Saying so, a totem-like mark lit up on the little girl's forehead. Space distorted, and the little girl disappeared. That was a curse? Naruto froze on the spot, and then his thoughts entered his memory. He recalled the scene just now. His eyes were fixed on the mark on the little girl's forehead before she disappeared. This little girl must be related to Orochimaru. Even if she wasn't Orochimaru, she must be related to him. Naruto's consciousness returned to his body. The ripples in space had already calmed down, but the traces were still there. Naruto used Flying Thunder God technique to resonate with the traces in space. His figure disappeared as he caught up with the little loli. When he reappeared, he was already at the Akatsuki's cafeteria. It was an underground cafeteria built in a mine. There wasn't much in the Earth country, but there were many mines. The Akatsuki occupied one of the abandoned mines. When Naruto appeared, the little loli was ordering food. A fruit salad? Tangyaki? This thing should be very fast, right? However, Naruto's guess was wrong. When Naruto finished the stone jutsu pot he ordered, the little loli was still carefully eating the fruit. One by one, he placed them in his mouth and chewed slowly. The expression of enjoyment on her face was like that of a satisfied kitten. But in fact, cats ate much faster than this little girl. Naruto had seen cats eating, and the food was crunchy. It was not much slower than dogs. There was no need to mention the chicken liver and dried fish. Just a few mouthfuls were enough. As for the cat candy, if you're anxious, you don't even need to lick it. You just need to chew it and it'll be gone in a few seconds. If you continue eating like this, the sky will turn dark. Could this guy be that guy? Did that guy have to be so evil? At this moment, Naruto was more willing to believe that the little loli in front of him was indeed a little loli. It wasn't Orochimaru. She was just cursed by Orochimaru? Just like Sasuke. The little loli replied. Masked Gidge said that I have to chew slowly when eating, so that my stomach won't hurt. Naruto's face was full of curses. There was nothing wrong with chewing slowly, but that was only necessary for eating meat, rice and large pieces of vegetables, right? Chewing sufficiently reduced the burden on the stomach. A fruit salad. Do you want to juice the fruit in your mouth and then swallow it? And tangyaki. A pastry was originally. I'm afraid that your masked brother has some misunderstanding about the matter of eating. When he comes back, we need to have a good talk. The little loli successfully finished her meal from dawn to dusk. I'm done eating, I'm going back to sleep. See you tomorrow. Yes, don't oversleep tomorrow, or your cultivation will be postponed to the day after tomorrow. Naruto was speechless. Was this a threat? Naruto already understood. Maybe it wasn't that Obito had a misunderstanding about eating. Instead, the little girl was deliberately eating slowly, because he overslept at noon. Revenge. What a black-bellied little girl. Was she relying on her masked Gidge to be the boss, so she could do whatever she wanted? If that's the case, then she's really an adorable little loli. Okay, you set a time. I promise to report on time. Naruto has completely entered the role of a follower. She was the boss's favorite concubine, so he as a follower should have the attitude of a follower. The little girl played with her fingers. I'll get up at 5, you can call me at 5:30. 5 o'clock? Unexpectedly diligent. Okay, I won't be late for a second. The little loli waved to Naruto. The V-shaped curse seal lit up, and the space around the little loli's body rippled. The little girl directly disappeared in front of Naruto's eyes. If this was a curse seal, then it was a very powerful one. It could directly resonate with the rules of space. The reason why Naruto can so freely mobilize the rules of space is mainly because of the Kamui Sharingan in his left eye. In addition, the 9 tails in his body can continuously supply chakra. Without these two, Naruto can at most use the Flying Thunder God Jutsu with the Flying Thunder God Jutsu to teleport. This little girl. Naruto came to the place where he first teleported with the little girl. Under the eye patch, the 3-Tomo Sharingan was promoted to Kamui Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto was perceiving the mark similar to the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. However, he couldn't find it. Was it eliminated by the little girl? Or the little girl didn't use the mark at all? Teleporting with the space-time mark and teleporting without the mark are two completely different concepts. If it's the former, it means that the little girl is worse than him. The latter at least proves that the little girl's mastery of space is equal to his. Some of them might even be stronger than the others. This was a very inconceivable thing. TSK. The guy who disappeared for 3 years is really a person who can't be underestimated. However, if you think a space ninjutsu can kill me, then you are a bit too naive. Naruto's lips curved into a smile. Kisame was eating not far away at this time. Uchiha Itachi was not in the cafeteria. Since Woodleaf was killed, that guy and his brother fought every day. Kisame also fell out of favor. Naruto, what good thing did you think of? Why are you smiling so flirtatiously? Could it be you like that little loli? I'm telling you, I'm not bragging. I still have some experience in this area. Do you want to teach you a few tricks? Kisame is very experienced in this kind of thing. Naruto looked at Hoshigaki Kisame in surprise. Kisame is holding a big bowl of noodles vinegar. The bowl next to him is stacked high. There are 7 or 8 bowls. You are wrong. I'm just interested in the little girl's ability. Besides, you don't know, the boss went to catch the Hachibi. When the seal of the Hachibi is finished, it will be my turn. My little life is coming to an end. Kisame's chewing stopped. His Adam's apple wriggled, and he swallowed directly. Can you tell me what incurable disease you have? It's hard to imagine that a guy like you would have an incurable disease. Naruto heard Kisame's words full of concern. The feeling of being cared for was a little warm. What do you mean? Why can't I have an incurable disease? Kisame replied. I remember, the boss said that good people don't pay with their lives, scourges live for thousands of years. Naruto. Motherf asterisk cur, can't we have a proper conversation? This sentence was said by him to Obito. He didn't expect to use it on him. Chapter 611. After the death of the daimyo of the Land of Thunder, Reikage requested to succeed the throne. But he was rejected by the bureaucrats of the Land of Thunder, because he didn't have the royal blood. They impeached Reikage for overstepping his authority to succeed the throne. Not long after, a strange disease swept through the Land of Thunder. The patients were either bureaucrats or their family members. This scene happened to be seen by Obito, who went to the Land of Thunder to capture the Hachibi. Have you heard? Yesterday, the head of the Chunshin family died of illness. The discussion on the street corner reached Obito's ears. Obito looked at the source of the sound. The person who spoke should be a servant of a big family. He had a shifty face and wore a brocade dress that didn't match his temperament. There were many people around him. The quality of these people's clothes wasn't bad, but they were a little less gorgeous. The head of the Chunshin family also died? This is the 6th official who died this week, right? You said that these officials had nothing to do but eat a snake and rat feast. Did they get sick? Another person said. I heard that the thing called snake and rat is a rare delicacy, and it's just a little bit. As he said that, the person pinched his fingertips to show the size and continued. It costs tens of thousands of silver. The people next to him didn't believe. So expensive? Wouldn't that spoonful of meat be enough to redeem the girl in the green bamboo alley? The person who said the price was a little proud and continued. After all, it's the best delicacy. I heard that the snake and rat thing only has 1 piece of meat, so it's expensive. It's a pity that I haven't eaten it yet. I'm afraid I won't be able to eat it in the future. Because the snake and rat were infected with an infectious disease, the officials who ate it also got sick. This story was passed down by word of mouth, and most people were convinced. Several people were chatting enthusiastically, and one of them said to the well-dressed man, Little butler, you are the best among us. Have you eaten the snake and rat meat? In Obito's eyes, the expression of the person who was asked was a little unnatural. He said, Of course I have, but the name is wrong. It's not called snake and rat, it's called dragon and tiger. But that was a few years ago. Hearing that the little butler had eaten it, the people around him took a few steps back, because the legendary disease was contagious. Hearing that it was from a few years ago, the tense atmosphere finally relaxed. What followed was all kinds of flattery. Snakes and rats? Longhu? Obito snorted and shook his head. He didn't believe that the officials of the country of lightning died one after another, because of that kind of thing. But it was undeniable that this reason was really good. Obito's eyes swept past these people, and looked at the restaurant. There was a burly man with brown skin, a dirty braid and glasses. Hachibi Human Pillar Force Killer Bee. His goal this time. At the same time, there was also a white-haired Jiraiya with black-rimmed glasses and an old cucumber painted in green paint. Jiraiya's disguise was very good. He looked to be in his 20s or 30s. The reason why Obito recognized him was mainly because of the toad logo on his clothes. Because of his last failure, Obito was now particularly sensitive to toads. So after noticing the toad, Obito became vigilant. After a series of careful observations, he finally confirmed that it was a ninja. Toad attributes plus ninja, there's a 60% chance that it's Jiraiya. In addition, Obito found that this person was very lecherous. He always looked at the buttocks of little girls. So the possibility that it's Jiraiya rose from 60% to 80%. In the spiritual network, Obito found Naruto. Naruto, are you really not coming to help me? That guy is really likely to be Jiraiya. Naruto replied. So what if it is? Get up from where you fall. You have to face difficulties bravely, then you can go forward bravely. Only then can you break through yourself and make a difference. If you're knocked down by a single challenge, then you're just wasting the air you need to live. It's better to die on Jiraiya's body now. Naruto said a lot of long-winded words. Obito had a headache listening to it. But he still asked, you really want me to do it myself? If you fail, you can't blame me. Naruto asked back. Why not blame you? Last time you failed, you said that you were not prepared to be sneak attacked by the other side. This time he didn't find you, but you found him first. With such a favorable condition, do you still have the face to fail? Well, I won't talk to you anymore. In short, this time you have to win. This is for your own good. I'm going to take little Scale to eat barbecue. After that, the call was hung up, not even giving Obito a chance to ask Scale. Fuck. Obito roared in his heart. At the same time, in the Land of Wind. The Land of Wind covered a large area of desert, but there were still forests. At this time, Naruto took Scale to one of the green areas to look for game. This was Naruto's reward for Scale's good performance. Scale, look at that snake, isn't it cute? Do you want me to catch one as a pet? Naruto saw a mottled snake with pink and white lines on its body. It looked more beautiful than other snakes and was suitable to be a pet. Of course, this was also a test. To test Scale's reaction when he saw the snake, and the snake's reaction when it saw Scale. While Naruto was talking, the snake turned its head and spat out its tongue. Hiss, hiss. It threatened the approaching two with its voice. The snake didn't show any abnormality, it didn't show any fear of Scale, and it didn't show any obedience. Then what about Scale? Scale stared at the snake with her cute big eyes and praised. Wow! What a cute little snake. This girl didn't hide her love for snakes? You like it? Then catch it as a pet? Naruto asked again. Scale licked her lips. Scale's tongue was very short, only showing the tip. Although the habit of licking lips was very similar to that person, it was much cuter than that person. That person's licking of lips was not cute, only disgusting, and a little perverted. Scale shook her head and said, No, I think this snake will be very delicious if it's made into snake soup. What? Snake soup? Meow, how many girls would like snake soup? Besides, snakes and you should be the same kind, right? Is it really good to eat your own kind? Do you really want to eat it? Naruto listened to his own heart. Scale happily nodded and said, Yes, Masked brother made snake soup for me once, it was delicious. Ha, Obito actually made snake soup for this little girl. It was like hearing a girl say that her boyfriend invited her to eat human meat barbecued pork bun. His back was cold. In the end, the super cute, super beautiful little snake was caught, skinned and made into a pot of snake soup. Naruto looked at the snake skin that was thrown aside, and felt a little distressed. This snake was really beautiful. If he took it back to the snow country and gave it to Shameless, maybe he could breed a lot of pet snakes that could be sold. But Shameless would not allow him to sell his sons. He made a snake soup, roasted a few snake skewers, and caught a few wild rabbits and pheasants. This meal, the little girl and Naruto were very full. It was worth mentioning that because of Naruto's good cooking, the little girl's attitude toward Naruto was obviously a lot better. This made Naruto even more puzzled. Could it be? This little girl was really not the person he was looking for? No. This little girl must be intentional. Chapter 6:12. That girl actually ate the snake. However, it's not like there are no snakes that eat their own kind. Some powerful snakes do have the nature of eating snakes. Well, if that's the case, eating snakes is not enough evidence. I have to test it in another way. That night, the cultivation ended. Today you go to the cafeteria to eat first. I have something to do elsewhere. The little girl was a little disappointed when she heard that Naruto didn't take her to the wild. She pouted and said, "Where are you going?" Naruto said mysteriously, "It's a secret." "Okay, you go and eat." After saying that, Naruto waved his hand and disappeared in an instant. Naruto reappeared 1 kilometer away. After coming out, Naruto hid and waited for the little girl to take the bait. However, to Naruto's disappointment, the little girl didn't come. Only a white Zetsu, secretly monitoring him. The plan failed. The next day, he took the little girl to eat barbecue. On the third day, Naruto used the same trick again. The little girl didn't chase after him. The barbecue continued on the fourth day. On the fifth day, the little girl finally followed Naruto through the traces left in the space. Naruto hid, and the little girl didn't find Naruto. Naruto secretly observed the little girl's every move. He didn't find anything. The sixth day continued. This time, Naruto used the space transmission twice and moved 2 kilometers. He chose a barren land. It was convenient to observe and prevent the white Zetsu from spying on him. After all, for a Zetsu, places with plants were almost the home field of that guy. After Naruto hid in a big rock, he was shocked. The little girl soon appeared in front of Naruto. The little girl looked around and didn't feel any other space fluctuations. After not finding Naruto, she stomped her feet angrily. That guy slipped away again. Really, what is that guy doing every day so mysteriously? Language, demeanor, expression, action. There were no flaws. There was no manly side. There was no other abnormality. Are you following me? Naruto's sudden appearance in front of the little girl gave her a fright. You. How did you do it? I didn't even sense any spatial fluctuations. Naruto explained, "It's simple because I didn't use any space ninjutsu." "Tell me, are you following me?" The little girl was frightened and angry. She put her hands on her waist and said rudely, "What's wrong with following you? Who asked you to be so secretive every day and not tell me what you're doing? I was curious, so I followed you. What's wrong?" Was the criminal's attitude so bad after being caught? He didn't have the slightest awareness that he should have when doing something bad. Naruto also lost his patience. Taking off the blindfold, his 3-tomo Sharingan was upgraded to Mangekyo Sharingan. Manjikyu Sharingan. Real illusion memory space. This genjutsu is based on the Manjikyu Sharingan's powerful dojutsu that can read memories. Naruto wanted to directly read the little girl's memories. Land of Lightning. After squatting here for a week, Obito finally made his move. Taking advantage of the dark, Hachibi's human pillar force was sleeping. He directly pulled Hachibi's human pillar force into Kamui's space. Spiritual network. Obito found Naruto and said, "I succeeded." Naruto was very calm. "What are you excited about? It wasn't difficult to begin with. I would be surprised if you failed again." Obito replied, "For safety's sake, I'll teleport back directly. Get ready to help me clean up the traces." With that said, Obito didn't use the ability of Manjikyu Sharingan, but used his ID card to locate Naruto. As soon as he appeared, Obito urged, "Quick! Help me erase the traces." The space that had just calmed down was distorted again, and there was the sound of glass breaking. "Can you clean up the traces yourself?" Obito replied, "Isn't it safe to let you do it?" Truth. No, the truth is that if Jiraiya catches up, it's your responsibility. By the way, don't you have to reimburse me for the points consumed by this teleportation? I'm doing business. Naruto rolled his eyes. Look at you, you have to apply for reimbursement for those points. Obito ignored Naruto's ridicule. The cost of cross-region teleportation is not small. How's Scale recently? Did you learn anything from her? Obito was very concerned about Scale. Naruto sighed. Thinking about that girl gives me a headache. Since you're back, you can continue to train her. Naruto looked at Scale's memory. From birth to the present, there was no shadow of the person Naruto was looking for. Scale was born in a small town in the Land of Fire. Before the age of 13, he was an ordinary child. At the age of 13, he suddenly awakened the ability to control space, and the ability to lose control erased the entire town. Therefore, he was discovered by Zetsu. Then Zetsu took the little girl to a new town and introduced the little girl to Obito, letting Obito teach Scale. Is this the truth? Naruto felt frustrated. I'm going to deal with the Hachibi. You inform the people in the organization and seal the Hachibi tomorrow. Obito nodded, hesitating. Before Naruto left, he suddenly stopped Naruto. By the way, is Scale okay? Naruto was surprised. What did you notice? Why do you ask? Obito replied. Although I don't know what you suspect, I can feel that you have been suspicious of her. Obito's feeling is quite sharp. Naruto asked. Oh, you felt it, so you have been worried about that girl? Don't you want me to teach her? Obito didn't hide and nodded. A little. Yes is yes, no is no. What does he mean by a little? Naruto was too lazy to talk to Obito and replied. I read her memory, no problem. Obito was surprised. You read her memory. Is she okay? Naruto was now very disappointed. If Scale was the person he was looking for, then things would be interesting. But it turned out not to be. It's okay, she will be fine after a sleep. Naruto no longer cared about Obito and directly entered Century Egg's inner world to see the Hachibi human pillar force. At the same time, in Scale's room, Scale suddenly opened her eyes. A pair of silver, full of strange vertical pupils stared straight at the ceiling. Today doesn't seem to be the night of the full moon. Is it because Naruto read my memory that I woke up early? I didn't expect that little guy Naruto to grow to this point. Scale sat up from the bed, holding her cheeks and talking to herself. Then no one knew what she was thinking. At this time, Scale's eyes were particularly deep, which made her beautiful face a little more cold. And a kind of coldness. However, this aura was quickly interrupted by the rumbling of his stomach. Today Naruto didn't take her to eat barbecue. She followed Naruto and didn't go to the cafeteria. So, hunger was inevitable. Scale smacked her lips and said to herself, I want to drink a bowl of snake soup. Roasted snake skewers are also delicious. Should I try to summon a few snakes? No, Naruto is so meticulous, it's not good to leave any clues. Well, at this time, there was a soft knock on Scale's door. Obito's voice came. Scale, are you asleep? The meal ticket is here. Scale closed her eyes and fell on the bed. When she opened her eyes again, her pupils had returned to normal. Scale looked around in a daze, and was about to close her eyes. At this time her stomach rumbled. Then there was a knock on the door and Obito's voice. It's the voice of Masked Gidge. Masked Gidge is back? She got up from the bed in a daze. Chapter 6:13. If Scale isn't Orochimaru, then where is Orochimaru? It's been 3 years, and Orochimaru seems to have evaporated into thin air. Could it be that Orochimaru is dead? Naruto used Edo Tensei on Orochimaru's body. Edo Tensei failed. This proves that Orochimaru is still alive. Spiritual network. Naruto found Obito. Tomorrow, I'll take Scale back to the Snow Country. In the wilderness of the Earth Country, Obito was grilling meat for Scale. Hearing Naruto's words, he was startled. Take Scale back to the Snow Country? What are you going to do? Naruto replied. I'm going to get Scale an ID. While I'm at it, check if there are any white Zetsu in Scale's body. When Obito heard this, he breathed a sigh of relief. Since Naruto gave Scale an ID, it means that Naruto no longer suspects Scale. This means that there's no problem with Scale, and he's not an enemy. This is good. Yes, I should get an ID. But if you get rid of the white Zetsu in Scale's body, the Zetsu will sense it and be vigilant. Naruto was lying on the sofa of the Great Snow Mountain's graduate student residence, resting with his eyes closed. He replied, I just want to provoke him. Tomorrow, I'll seal the Hachibi and 3 days later, I'll seal the 9 tails. I don't need him anymore. After hanging up the call with Obito, Naruto quietly lay on the sofa. At this time, footsteps came from the living room. There was also a hint of alcohol in the air. The perception barrier expanded. The system notified him. The target has a perception barrier. Detection cannot be performed under non-medical conditions. The system notified him. Target identification. The person's profile appeared in front of Naruto's eyes. It's Hinata. Hinata drank? The footsteps were getting closer and closer, and Hinata walked over. It's so late yet you're still awake? Naruto greeted Hinata. According to the previous agreement with Tsunade, Naruto couldn't meet her until he condensed the Yin seal. Anichi. I'm still awake, Hinata replied. The night was as cold as water, and the surroundings were silent. It wasn't completely silent. At the bottom of the Great Snow Mountain, there would be snoring sounds from time to time. It was Big Fool snoring. The snoring was intermittent, and every time it got louder, it would suddenly stop. In this situation, it was most likely that Dasha's wife had given Dasha a slap. You're not with Tsunade? Naruto suddenly asked a very silly question. Hinata did not reply. Naruto awkwardly sat up and made space for Hinata. He asked tentatively, sit? Hinata nodded and sat beside Naruto. The two of them sat there quietly for a while. Hinata's body gently fell down and leaned on Naruto. Hinata did drink, but it didn't smell bad, and Naruto didn't dislike it. The moment Hinata leaned on him, he liked it very much. He liked Hinata's weak appearance. This way, he could show his desire to protect her. Naruto-kun. Aster told me that she likes you. Then do you like Aster? Huh. The sudden question made Naruto confused, but he quickly replied, I don't like her. Hinata raised her face and looked at Naruto. Really? Naruto didn't hesitate and replied with certainty, really? Hinata's mouth gently curved up, and two beautiful dimples appeared on her face. Then do you like me? This question made Naruto stunned. The two of them looked at each other, and time seemed to have frozen at this moment. Hinata raised her body, and the sweet and intoxicating smell of alcohol came out of her mouth. I like you, Naruto-kun. Naruto suddenly felt his heart thump. It was a very sweet and wonderful feeling. Hinata stood up and pressed against Naruto. Their red lips touched under Hinata's initiative. Naruto was absent-minded and was pushed down by Hinata. Who am I? Where am I? What am I going to do? I like you too, Naruto said boldly. But Hinata didn't respond. Naruto gathered his courage and looked down at Hinata. He found that Hinata had fallen asleep on top of him. This girl. It seemed that Hinata drank a lot. Well, if she wasn't drunk, Hinata would never do such a bold thing. Naruto lowered his head and looked at Hinata in his arms. The drunk Hinata was also beautiful, and the angle of her chest when she lowered her head. The view under the collar of her pajamas was unobstructed. Should he gulp? Naruto swallowed his saliva with difficulty. No, Hinata is not sober now. How can we be so careless about this kind of thing? He resisted the various impulses in his heart. Naruto used chakra to lift Hinata from his body. She slipped out and gently placed her on the sofa. Hinata looked beautiful when she was sleeping. She looked even more beautiful when she was drunk. He really wanted to look at her for the whole night. Then he would just look at her for the whole night. But would it be uncomfortable to sleep on the sofa? It was better to carry Hinata to the bed. Naruto carried Hinata and went back to the bedroom. Then he sat on the ground and continued to look at the sleeping Hinata. Unknowingly, the night passed. When Hinata woke up, Naruto was still sitting on the ground. Good morning. Seeing Hinata open her eyes, Naruto took the initiative to greet her. Hinata yawned in a daze, rubbed her blurry eyes and replied in a daze. Good morning, Naruto-kun. Naruto continued to sit on the ground and lie on the edge of the bed. Hinata looked at Naruto in confusion, and felt that something was wrong. Haven't I woken up yet? Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled brightly. Good morning. Get up and wash your face and have breakfast. I have asked Kwanji to prepare breakfast. The reason why he didn't do it himself was that Naruto didn't want to miss the scenery in front of him. He wanted to keep looking at Hinata like this. Hinata turned her head and looked around. This bedroom was familiar yet unfamiliar. It was familiar because she had been here before. It was unfamiliar because this wasn't her bedroom. This was Naruto's bedroom. Why was she in Naruto's bedroom? What happened yesterday? Hinata felt her head hurt and couldn't remember. Was she dreaming? This couldn't be real, right? Hinata pulled up her system's daily record. Then she recorded herself getting drunk, confessing to Naruto, taking the initiative to kiss Naruto, and finally being carried away. She actually took the initiative to confess. She did what Tsunade told her to do. Wait, Hinata, you need to be more reserved. It's one thing to confess, but how could you take the initiative to kiss Naruto? The recording continued. She saw Naruto's hand, touching her breast several times. Hinata finally couldn't take it anymore. Her face was so red that it was about to explode. Asterisk bang. Asterisk she transformed into steam. I'm too ashamed to see anyone. Unable to control herself, Hinata slapped Naruto. Pervert. She then crawled under the covers and wrapped herself up. Naruto was stunned by the slap. After he recovered, he immediately explained. Hinata, listen to me. It's not what you think. You were the one who took the initiative last night. Hinata was embarrassed to death upon hearing this. Get out. Naruto panicked even more. It's true. You said that you liked me. Hinata was about to explode. Get out. Naruto explained. Hinata, I like you. However, Hinata, who was still in a state of anger, didn't hear him at all. She kicked Naruto from under the covers and sent Naruto flying. The force was so great that a hole was smashed in the metal wall. However, Naruto had thick skin and was fine. He even explained, Hinata, I recorded yesterday's incident. If you don't believe me, you can take a look. Hinata, the system announced, Naruto sent you a video message. Please receive it. Hinata was about to go crazy. Chapter 6:14. Get out. You're not allowed to come in. Hinata shouted from under the blanket. Naruto's system interface. System notification. Hinata rejected the video. Rejected? How could he reject it? Then wouldn't he be unable to clear his name even if he jumped into the Yellow River? If Hinata didn't like him because of this, Hinata would leave him. Hinata would marry someone else. Hinata would give birth to someone else's child. Hinata's child wouldn't have the same surname as him. It wouldn't be Little Whirlpool. Heavens! This was too scary. No. This had to be explained clearly. Naruto sent the video to Hinata again. System notification. Naruto sent you a video message, please accept it. Naruto ran back. Hinata, this video will prove my innocence. Hinata was so embarrassed under the blanket that she turned into a prawn. Just as she was about to reject it again. System notification. System notification. Video file has been accepted. System notification. Video file downloading. System notification. Video file playing. None of this was done by Hinata, so there was only one truth. Naruto's highest level of authority was 5 stars. The video played. The video that Hinata had already watched was played again. And it was the edited version. The part where a certain scumbag secretly touched her chest was cut off. System notification. Naruto requests to create a virtual reality chat room. Rejected. Rejected, invalid. The virtual reality chat room was successfully created. Naruto appeared in front of her. Hinata, don't be so agitated. You saw the video, right? Nothing happened last night. You drank too much, so I watched over you for the entire night. Hinata questioned. You only watched over me for the entire night? Naruto replied firmly. I only watched over you for the entire night. Hinata threw caution to the wind. Then you didn't touch my chest? Hinata seemed to know something incredible. The righteous Naruto's brain instantly crashed. How did Hinata know? That's right, the system's daily record. It's over. It's over. If he had known that this would happen, he would have used his authority to delete it. What should he do now? That? Hinata, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Really, I didn't think about it. I must have been possessed back then. I lost control for a moment. How was he going to explain this? He searched in the super brain system. What can I do to make a girl forgive me after touching her breasts? The super brain is searching system notification. No matching question found. You can generate a question for help and answer it online. System notification. Would you like to generate a request for help? Naruto's brain also went haywire. He nodded. He hung up the call for help. If he accidentally touched a girl's chest, How could he make her forgive him? Waiting online is quite urgent. Ding-ling. As soon as Naruto asked the question, those who paid special attention to Naruto received a system notification. System notification. The person you pay special attention to has encountered a problem. Help him, and you will gain a favorable impression. At this moment, the snow country exploded. How many people were paying special attention to Naruto? All the teachers and students of the mercenary college were paying attention to him. And the citizens of the country of learning, system notification. The principal you pay special attention to has encountered a problem. Help him, and you might be rewarded with credits. What question? She clicked on the question. My love. Oh phew, you gao. Oh phew, system notification. The state preceptor you pay special attention to has encountered a problem, system notification. Snow country exploded. Hinata also exploded. Hinata system interface. System notification. Naruto-kun, the person you pay special attention to has encountered a problem. Hinata was stunned. Then, she felt sweet in her heart. Naruto was just outside the house. Could it be because of her that he asked this question? For example, asking how to make a girl happy? But soon Hinata's face darkened. Hinata realized that she had guessed the beginning correctly but not the end. Help question. Accidentally touched a girl's chest. How can I get the girl to forgive me? Waiting online for urgent help. Naruto actually asked this question. Was that an accident? It was clearly when she was sleeping. This wasn't the main point. The main point was that how could he ask such a question directly? The number of replies to the question was quite fast. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of people left comments below. Some people were heckling, while some people answered seriously. Heckling. Was it really an accident? I highly doubt it. +1. Downstairs. I don't think what the person above said is reliable. The girl must have deliberately knocked down the state preceptor, and then took the opportunity to repay him with her body. +1. Madness +1. It was a serious analysis. This problem can actually be big or small. It mainly depends on the person you touched and your looks. If the person you touched is someone close to you and this person is interested in you, then it's not a big problem. If the person you touched is a stranger to you, then it's a bigger problem. But if you're good looking, it's not a big problem if you sincerely apologize. That's right. If you're good looking, you can do whatever you want. The next post said, Upstairs, are you blind? Our headmaster's looks are outstanding. Continued. The state preceptor is so handsome. Of course she forgave him. Downstairs. I don't know which girl is so lucky. She won't be willing to take a bath for the rest of her life. She can brag about this for the rest of her life. I really want to be touched by the state preceptor. Downstairs. Reminder upstairs. Shouldn't the question now be, which girl is being pampered? Then there was a +1 sound of agreement. Naruto was reading the question. Which answer was more reliable? Naruto looked in the mirror and thought that he was still very handsome. Then he should be forgiven, right? Hinata was also reading, but Hinata's mind was already exploding. Naruto, what did you do? Who told you to go to such a place and ask such a question? Naruto was dumbfounded. How did you see it? Hinata was in despair. Could it be that she paid special attention to him at this time? Hurry up and delete the question for me. If people know who the person above is, I'll never forgive you. Naruto was shocked. He asked, Then if I delete it, you'll forgive me? Hinata was in despair. At this time, a string of 3-star and 4-star users left comments below the post. Gu and I, it's not me. Aster. It's not me, little Gu and I, it's not me either. If she continued to exclude, she might find the truth. In the high-level public chat area. Gu and I, speaking of which, who is that girl? Hinata cleverly left a sentence under the comment. It's not me. However, Defei left a comment. It's Hinata's sister-in-law. It's over, no one would doubt Defei. Because everyone knew Defei well. Defei never cared about lying. To outsiders, Defei was the only one other than the state preceptor who had the 5 elements authorization. So it was her. The message board exploded. Chapter 6:15. Feeling that something was wrong, Naruto deleted the post as quickly as possible. But since this kind of thing has already happened, how can deleting the post cover it up? The enthusiasm of the people of Snow Country for gossip has been ignited. He believed that even if there is no spiritual network, word of mouth can spread throughout Snow Country in the shortest time. Naruto, I hate you. This kind of thing was known by so many people. Hinata felt that she had no face to see anyone. Naruto was speechless. What should I do now? Continue to explain? Naruto had a feeling that the more he explained, the worse the situation would become. But Naruto felt that he could still be saved. Hinata, I was wrong. Hinata ignored him. Naruto continued to apologize. I was really wrong. I will never touch your chest again. Hinata. Hinata instantly cursed in her heart. If you don't touch mine, then whose do you want to touch? Hinata suddenly wanted to ask, but she couldn't ask such a tough question. Go away, let me be alone. Naruto refused to go and continued to apologize. Really, if you touch me again, you will be a puppy. Hinata gritted her teeth, but she thought that Naruto's appearance as a puppy wagging its tail was quite cute. She wanted to laugh, but now was not the time. Outside, Naruto saw that Hinata didn't respond, and continued to say, I swear. I will. What is Naruto-kun going to do? Swear that he will never touch her again? Hinata was anxious, and before Naruto finished, Hinata interrupted. If you dare to swear, I will never talk to you again. Naruto stopped in time. The scene was awkward for a while. Hinata, who was in the bed, wanted to use the quilt to cover herself to death. What the hell is this? At this moment, the system prompted that Tsunade requested a call. Hinata was a little hesitant, but she still connected. Good job, Hinata. Looks like you're finally enlightened. If we had taken the initiative earlier, we would have taken down Naruto a long time ago. Hinata's face turned red from Tsunade's praise. She weakly defended herself. Tsunade-sama, it's not what you think. Tsunade interrupted. Why are you so shy with me? You did well this time. But it's also quite surprising to me. You actually made such a big fuss that everyone in the city knows about it. How courageous. Hinata, I have a whole new level of respect for you now. Was there a cave? I really want to hide it. Tsunade-sama, don't make fun of me. Now that things have turned out like this, how am I supposed to face people in the future? Tsunade teased. Isn't that good? It can also be considered as stamping Naruto's face with the seal of Miss Hinata. He won't have to worry about other girls seducing him anymore. Tsunade-sama, if you keep doing this, I'm hanging up. I'm ignoring you. Hearing that Hinata was really ashamed and angry, Tsunade stopped making fun of Hinata. She said seriously, hey, you're too thin-skinned. But it's true that this kind of thing does damage a girl's reputation. It's easy for some jealous people to gossip. But don't worry, I'll help you settle this matter. Hinata was full of doubts about Tsunade's words. Could this kind of thing be solved? Unless Tsunade could clear everyone's memories, or go through time and space and change the past. But Hinata still hoped that such a method existed. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to face everyone in the future. Really? What method? Tsunade lowered her voice and replied, wait for my news. After Tsunade finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hinata's reaction and directly hung up the call with Hinata. She then called Naruto. Not bad, boy. You're quite brave. Naruto's body stiffened. Tsunade also knows? Now maybe the entire Snow Country knows, so it's normal for Tsunade to know. Naruto regretted it. It would be better if he posted anonymously. Naruto replied, fortunately. Tsunade sneered. Do you think I'm praising you? Do you know what stupid thing you've done? This kind of thing has been spread all over the city. How do you want Hinata to face people in the future? Have you considered the girl's feelings? Hinata has always been a thin-skinned girl, and now she hates you to death. Naruto instantly turned off the phone and whispered, I don't want to. It's all an accident, a moment of carelessness, Tsunade said with disappointment. You're usually very smart. Why are you as stupid as a pig in this matter? Let's not talk about other things. Now that it has happened, how are you going to fix it? How to fix it? Naruto replied seriously. Apologize? Tsunade asked. How do you apologize? Naruto thought about it. Admit your mistake and swear that this kind of thing won't happen again. There's no problem with doing something wrong normally. But this kind of thing between a man and a woman. Tsunade just wanted to roll her eyes at this. She said angrily, why don't you try it first? See if it works? Naruto said dejectedly, I tried it, but it didn't work. Tried it? Tsunade was a little curious and asked, how did you apologize? Naruto didn't want to talk, so he called up the scene just now and sent it back. Tsunade burst out laughing after seeing the video. Especially Naruto's promise that if she touched him again, she would be a dog, and that oath. Tsunade could completely understand Hinata's desperate mood at that time. This apology was really too deadly. This video must be kept and released when there's a chance in the future. It'll definitely be interesting. For example, if it can be played at Naruto's wedding in the future. It's exciting just thinking about it. Cough cough, that. She wanted to laugh. Tsunade took a deep breath. She resisted the urge to burst out laughing and asked with a serious face, since it didn't work, what are you going to do next? Naruto said dejectedly, I don't know. Tsunade-san, do you have a way? Finally, it was her turn to say something. But, wouldn't that be too good for Naruto? Well, although he's her disciple, there should be some benefits. I have a way. But if it works, how will you thank me, your teacher? Naruto was excited when he heard this. With his understanding of Tsunade, he naturally knew that when Tsunade said something like this, it was when she had full confidence. If it works and the conditions aren't excessive, you can say whatever you want. Tsunade was very satisfied with this promise. Well, my way is to propose to Hinata. Propose in front of everyone. This way, it'll be justified. Not to mention that you touched Hinata's chest. Even if you two have a baby, others can only give their blessings. Propose to Hinata? But the original plan was after the world was unified. If he were to propose now, wouldn't his super romantic proposal go down the drain? Naruto didn't answer directly. Tsunade wondered. What? You don't want to? Naruto immediately told Tsunade his idea. Tsunade scolded him. Are you stupid? I'm just asking you to propose, not to get married right away. The things you prepared can be used at the wedding. Naruto thought about it and agreed. Then propose? Tsunade said affirmatively, propose. Naruto took a deep breath. Okay, propose. Chapter 6:16. The residential area of the Snow Country was very lively. The state preceptor, who had always kept a low profile and had no scandals, actually posted a post on the forum asking for a solution after touching a girl's chest. Moreover, it was a real matter, not a joke. The state preceptor has reached the age of choosing a spouse, right? Do you think the state preceptor is going to? At the corner of the street, a few people gathered together. Regardless of whether they knew each other or not, they began to gossip. One of the girls said, how is that possible? The state preceptor is such a noble person. If he wants to choose a spouse, it should be the queen. How can he marry a little girl whose name he has never heard of? Another girl said, if you ask me, this matter is most likely caused by that girl. She was lucky enough to meet the state preceptor, and deliberately cause trouble. This slut deserves to be stabbed 1,000 times. The girl said with righteous indignation. Just when everyone thought that this girl was despising this matter, she suddenly said, why don't I encounter such a good thing? I will definitely seize the opportunity to give the state preceptor a lot of little state preceptors. Everyone rolled their eyes. Many girls ridiculed that girl for overestimating herself. For example, if you don't look in the mirror to see what you look like, weigh yourself, and other heart-wrenching words. Whoosh whoosh. The girl's heart was pierced by thousands of arrows. But even so, everyone continued to discuss happily. The name Hinata. Don't you think it's a bit familiar? I feel like I've heard it somewhere. Someone mentioned Hinata's name. When others heard it, they also vaguely felt that it was familiar. It's a pity that the post has been deleted. Otherwise, there will definitely be people who know it. One of them was full of disappointment. The eyes of the person next to him lit up. If it's deleted, then create another one. Is there a shortage of people for such a hot topic? So everyone began to search. Soon, they found that there was no need for them to create a post. Someone had already taken a step ahead. Wow! This Hinata is actually a teacher of the Mercenary Academy. One person sighed as he flipped through the post. The person next to him echoed, "There are no ordinary teachers in the Mercenary Academy. I was wondering how this girl could meet the state preceptor. It turns out that she was close to him." Just as the few of them were engrossed in watching the show, the sky suddenly turned dark. It seemed that something had blocked the sun. What's going on? Why is it dark? Looking into the distance, it was pitch black all around. There was no sign of the streetlights lighting up either. Could it be an enemy attack? In 5 minutes, Lord Master Uzumaki Naruto will propose to Lord Hinata, the 2nd Division Captain of the Imperial Army. During this period, any anomalies will be part of the celebration. System notification. You have received a marriage proposal invitation from the state preceptor. For a time, the snow country was boiling. The imperial preceptor was going to propose. That mysterious girl named Hinata was actually the captain of the Imperial Army's 2nd Division. The Imperial Army's 2nd Division was an organization that only the most outstanding graduates of the Mercenary Academy's combat department could join. Others didn't know what it meant, but the people of the snow country knew very well. The invitation to the marriage proposal opened, and a window popped up. Will you attend the ceremony? Click yes. System notification. Accessing the virtual reality world. Please return to your bed and lie down. System notification. Connection successful. Naruto's proposal hall. It was in the sky. It looked like a shrine. When she first entered, the shrine's door wasn't open yet. 2 teams of the Imperial Army were neatly lined up on both sides. At the same time, on Hinata's system page. System notification. Naruto invites you to the proposal hall. Proposal hall? What the hell? Hinata was confused. The system uncontrollably agreed. System notification. Accessing the virtual reality world. System notification. Accessing the virtual reality world successful. Hinata appeared in a dressing room. System notification. Please choose your dress. Hinata looked around and found they were all wedding dresses. Naruto, what are you doing? Hinata called Naruto, but Naruto didn't pick up. At this time, Tsunade appeared beside Hinata. Choose your dress? Dress up nicely, it's almost time for you to go on stage. Seeing Tsunade, Hinata quickly asked, Tsunade-sama, what's going on? Tsunade looked at Hinata with a smile. What's going on? Do you still need to ask me? Can't your little brain guess? Hinata looked around the room with uncertainty. Naruto, he's not going to. He's going to have a wedding? Tsunade rolled her eyes at Hinata. Dream on, it's not a wedding, it's a proposal. How about it? This is more sincere than his apology, right? Proposal? Hinata felt like she was floating. Tsunade waved her hand, and a video window appeared in front of Tsunade. In the video, Naruto was standing in the hall in a suit, giving a speech to tens of thousands of people. Hinata could no longer hear the content of the conversation. Hinata felt a little panicked. Tsunade-sama, this is the solution you mentioned? Tsunade smiled and said, It's true that I asked him to propose to you. But these arrangements are not my idea. These are all arranged by Naruto himself. This virtual world and every wedding dress in this room were prepared by him a long time ago. Naruto wanted to propose to you for a long time. His original plan was to unify the world and give you a wedding that you'll never forget. But I think that guy's head is too one-track. A wedding is a wedding. There must be a proposal before the wedding. As for the wedding, let him prepare it again when the time comes. For some reason, looking at the wedding dress in the room and Naruto in the video, Hinata suddenly felt sour in her nose. A drop of tear flowed from the corner of her eye uncontrollably. It's actually very distressing to like someone who's very good. It makes you feel proud of that person's excellence, but at the same time, you worry that you're not good enough, you worry that you're not beautiful enough, and you worry that the person who's getting better and better will eventually choose someone else. That kind of love is beautiful. That kind of waiting is torturous. And the feeling of waiting is really, really great. Silly girl, don't cry, quickly change your clothes. Naruto is waiting for you. Hinata casually picked up a piece of clothing. Tsunade looked at another one and said, "Don't you want to choose? There's not much time. I think that dress is also very good." Tsunade said as she pointed to a dress in the distance. The dress was snow white, and Tsunade felt that it matched Hinata very well. Changing clothes in the virtual world is very fast, and you can put it on directly. After Hinata put on the dress, she smiled with tears and said, "These are all clothes prepared by him. I like all the clothes he prepared." Chapter 6:17. The door of the temple opened, and two groups of Emperor's army soldiers wearing the same armor knelt down on one knee. On the left was the double-winged tiger, and on the right was the dragon eagle. The double-winged tigers stood on the right side of their respective masters. Their wings were folded in a neat row, and their heads were lowered. The dragon eagle faced them, bowing its head and waiting quietly. Between the two groups, there was a gold-stamped red carpet that led directly to the temple. The temple was in the sky, and Hinata was sitting on the most powerful double-winged tiger. Is this a proposal? Why do I feel like it's a wedding? In the auditorium, Gunny looked at the scene in front of him with jealousy. The person he admired was about to get married, but the bride was not him. He was in a terrible mood. Brother Naruto really chose Sister Hinata. It's a pity that little Gunny can't grow up. If he could grow up, he would also want to be Brother Naruto's bride. Gunny pouted, and his little face was full of disappointment. Big Gunny was as quiet as ever. He just watched quietly. For a moment, an unnoticeable look flashed across his eyes. Hinata walked into the temple and got down from the back of the double-winged tiger. She walked in front of Naruto, and the two looked at each other. The friendship between their brows was already written on their faces. "You're so beautiful today." Naruto suddenly said something silly. Hinata was a little shy. "It's the clothes you prepared that look good." The two looked at each other affectionately, and Naruto finally said, "Hinata, I love you. Marry me." The world was quiet. Everyone's eyes were focused on Hinata's face, waiting for Hinata's answer. Hinata's face turned red, and her heart beat faster. Although he was mentally prepared before he came, he still felt caught off guard. "Hinata, will you?" Naruto asked again. Hinata came back to her senses. She said in a low voice, "Okay." She agreed. Rose petals rained down. The entire virtual world was filled with the fragrance of flowers. Naruto held Hinata in his arms and kissed her without hesitation. He had endured it for too long. At this moment, he could finally act without fear. Because Hinata had already agreed to be his woman. Woo-woo, Naruto. Don't. There are so many people watching. Being watched by all the people of the snow country, Hinata's courage to walk over was already great. Now that they were kissing in front of so many people, it was too embarrassing. Naruto gave her a big kiss and laughed. "What are you afraid of? From today onwards, you're mine." Hinata was so embarrassed that she gritted her teeth and exited the virtual reality world. Naruto scratched his head awkwardly after hugging nothing. He said to the people who came to watch the ceremony, "I seem to have done something wrong again." The people below burst into laughter. Naruto announced, "Next, it's time for the ball. The ball in the real world to express my gratitude to everyone." "Okay, I won't say any more. The invitation in the real world has been sent out. I'll go find my wife first." With that, Naruto disappeared. In the real world, Hinata was about to climb out of the quilt and slip away. Naruto suddenly hugged Hinata. "Wife, there's no one here." Hinata panicked. "There's no one here, you can't hug me." Naruto hugged her and didn't let go. "I've wanted to hug you for a long time, just let me hug you." How could there be such a rascal in the world? Hinata was angry, but the more she struggled, the tighter Naruto hugged her. "I'll let you hug me for a while. Let go when you're done." Hinata had no choice but to agree. Naruto hugged Hinata and felt the fullness in his arms. He was in a good mood. My dear wife, can you give me a kiss? Naruto put his face in front of Hinata. Hinata turned her head away. No. I've already let you hug me for a while. Let go of me now. I'm sweating all over and need to change my clothes. But he didn't expect Naruto to cover his mouth. Hinata's eyes widened. Woo-woo. Do you want to die? Naruto kissed her a few times. If you don't kiss me, I'll kiss you. After saying that, he pecked Hinata's face again. He whispered in Hinata's ear. Hinata, let's have a child? Hinata's whole body went soft when she heard this. You rascal. Naruto kissed her. You're my wife. How is kissing my own wife a rascal? At this time, Hinata suddenly remembered something Tsunade said. There were two kinds of men. One was cat-type men and the other was canine-type men. Cat-type men were so arrogant. They obviously liked someone, but they didn't say it out loud. Cat-type men pounced on you regardless of whether you were willing or not. Naruto was a dog. Tsunade said how to deal with canine-type men? Sit down. Hinata suddenly shouted. Naruto's body stiffened and stopped moving. Hinata scolded loudly. Let go of me and sit down. Otherwise, I'll reject your proposal. Naruto was very unwilling, but he still let go of his hand. Then he looked at Hinata innocently and sat down. I'm going to change now. You sit here and don't move. You can't follow me. Naruto looked at Hinata innocently. Why? Hinata looked at Naruto's innocent expression and felt a little soft-hearted. But when she thought of Tsunade's advice, she gritted her teeth and said, If you don't listen, I won't agree to your proposal. Looking at each other, persistence, Naruto's pitiful gaze made Hinata's heart clench. Okay. But I can't keep sitting here, right? I won, then what? What should I do? Tsunade said to set rules for canine-type boyfriends. You sit here first. I'll come find you after I change, and then I'll set some rules. You can disagree. If you don't agree, I'll reject your proposal. Naruto had no choice but to nod and agree. Okay, then hurry up. Change in half an hour. Hinata agreed, and then quickly ran out of Naruto's room. The moment Hinata stepped out of the door, she felt lucky that she had finally escaped. Just now, she really suspected that she wouldn't be able to walk out today, and then she would be done by Naruto. After changing, Hinata was a little scared again. Although she was stubborn just now, she was just following the script. She was completely clueless about what to do next. Should she ask Tsunade again? Hinata didn't know what to ask. Spiritual network. Naruto's call. Time's up, are you still not done yet? Hinata braced herself and replied. I'm done. Come out, let's go to the living room. Hinata didn't dare to be alone in the room with Naruto. When she arrived at the living room, she found that Gunny and the others had returned. Hinata, you're good. You took down Naruto without a word. The two Yujito praised her. Tion also came over and said in a small voice, Tell me, what method did you use? Let me see if I can use it as a reference. Hinata was too embarrassed to explain the ins and outs of the matter, so she changed the topic and said, You guys sit first, I'll go prepare drinks for you. Hinata wanted to slip away, but the others didn't let her do as she wished. They directly called Inuji to serve her. Naruto whispered in Hinata's ear. Didn't you just say that you want to set rules? What rules? Chapter 6:18. A large group of girls had gathered together. The three Gunny sisters, the two Yujito, Tion, Sakura, and Tsunade were all there. At first, everyone was teasing Hinata for fun. Later, they went to participate in the celebration. After that, they drank together. After getting drunk, Gunny hugged Naruto tightly and complained that Hinata had secretly made a move on Naruto. Hinata, why don't you give me half of Naruto? If you give me half, I'll forgive you. Hinata was also drunk. She hugged Naruto and pulled Naruto away from Gunny's arms. No, Naruto-kun belongs to me alone. No one can take him away from me. The only one who didn't drink too much was Naruto. It wasn't that he didn't drink enough. It was because he used chakra to dissolve the alcohol. Otherwise, Naruto was afraid that he would accidentally screw up when he was with so many girls. When Guni saw that Naruto was being pulled away, he unhappily scolded Hinata. Stingy. Then you better watch carefully. Don't let me seduce your boyfriend away. The drunk Hinata was very cute. She hugged Naruto and said, No way. Naruto is my dog. He won't go with you. Naruto was confused. Dog. What the hell? The girls continued to talk nonsense. The two Yujito also joined in. Count me in. I want to seduce little Naruto too. Hinata, you better watch carefully. Hinata hugged Naruto tightly and said cutely, You can't take my dog away from me. Hinata glared at Guni and the two Yujito, then looked at Tian Tian and said cautiously, What are you looking at? Are you going to take my dog away too? Tian Tian waved his hand in a daze and said, I don't care. I like Ningji. Although Ningji isn't as handsome as you, Naruto, he's not a playboy unlike your dog. He's a playboy. Hinata defended Naruto and said, No, my dog only likes me. Then she said to Naruto, Am I right? Dog, say something. Naruto wanted to bang his head against the wall. What was wrong with these girls? Did they become arrogant after drinking a little? She actually called him a dog. This was really. Hinata was still acting coquettishly. Doggy, don't you think so? Naruto rolled his eyes. I'm a wolf. Hinata pouted. No, you're my dog. What else could Naruto say? He opened his mouth and barked. Woof. This made Hinata very happy. Look, my dog only likes me. Hinata became a chatterbox after getting drunk. She said to Sakura Haruno, You can't have any ideas about my dog. Sakura Haruno slowly rolled her eyes and replied, My cat is much cuter than your dog. Cat. Could it be that she was talking about Sasuke? Did girls always use animals as metaphors when they talked about their boyfriends? Boys also seemed to say that girls were stupid pigs. Could it be revenge? Naruto felt that it seemed to make sense. After the girls were drunk, Naruto sent everyone back to their rooms with his doppelganger. His real body carried Hinata back to the room. After returning to the room, Hinata hung on Naruto like an octopus. Big dog, you won't be seduced by that bad girl Guanai, right? Naruto pinched Hinata's face and said, That depends on whether you are obedient or not. Hinata quickly replied, I am very obedient. Dog, don't seduce others. Obedient? How is she obedient? She did not even let him hug her during the day and avoided kisses. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the drunk Hinata and said, You are obedient? Then kiss me. The drunk Hinata did not hesitate and kissed Naruto's face. Naruto's little heart was beating wildly from the kiss. He pointed to his lips and said, Kiss here. Hinata was very obedient and kissed him again. She was really obedient. Then Naruto looked at Hinata with a smirk and said, Then you take off your clothes and sleep with me. Hinata took off her clothes in a daze. Then she got under the quilt. She lifted a corner of the quilt and said drunkenly, Come on, come in. Naruto's nose was hot and blood flowed directly to his face. It was really too exciting. Naruto cast a healing spell on himself and got under the quilt after his nose was healed. However, he found that Hinata had fallen asleep under the quilt. Should he wake the little girl up? Hinata was very cute in her sleep. Her eyelashes moved as her eyes moved. Hinata was dreaming. Then she smacked her lips as if she had eaten something delicious. She was really too cute. Naruto took a deep breath and went to the toilet to calm down. He really could not bear to disturb this girl's sleep. There was still a long way to go. There would be plenty of opportunities to have children in the future. In the end, Naruto went to sleep on the sofa. Not long after Naruto lay down on the sofa, Hinata opened her eyes. Although her eyes were drunk, it could be seen that she was still very sober. Hinata's drink was dissolved by Tsunade. Before Naruto carried Hinata back to the room. Spiritual network. Tsunade asked, How is it? What's the situation? Hinata was still a little drunk and replied in a daze, Nothing happened. Naruto is sleeping on the sofa. After hearing this, Tsunade praised, As expected of my apprentice, you're still very good. Hinata yawned, got up from the bed in a daze, and staggered towards Naruto. Then she directly hit Naruto's body, like a big octopus, and wrapped around Naruto's body. She cutely muttered, "Where Naruto-kun sleeps, Hinata sleeps there." Naruto was awakened by Hinata's pressure, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry at the magical creature wrapped around his body. "You delivered yourself to my doorstep." Hinata didn't reply and fell asleep. Although the sofa was very big, it was still very crowded for 2 adults. Naruto picked up Hinata and carried her to the bed again. And then? Naruto couldn't sleep. It wasn't until the next morning that he was awakened by a slap. The hot slap sent Naruto flying directly from the bed. "Rogue!" Naruto woke up and looked at the violent person on the bed with an innocent face. "You want to murder your husband so early in the morning?" Hinata covered herself tightly with the quilt. "Naruto-kun, rogue. Naruto-kun took off my clothes while I was drinking." Suddenly, Naruto felt that his slap was wronged. If he had known earlier, he would have done something yesterday. "Who took off your clothes?" "You took off your clothes yourself." Then Naruto sent the video record of last night. "Last night you either called me Doggy or Big Doggy. Is this the nickname you gave me?" Hinata finished watching the video record as fast as she could. Her face was as red as a hot soldering iron. Completely red. She said guiltily, "You rogue, you actually asked me to take off my clothes when I was drunk." Naruto asked back, "Of course I took off my clothes to sleep. Do you always sleep with your clothes on? What the hell is going on? You were the one who seduced me last night." Hinata's eyes widened. Naruto continued, "And I went to sleep on the sofa. You didn't sleep on the bed, but came to the sofa to disturb my sleep. When I sent you back to bed, you held my hand and didn't let go. I couldn't sleep all night." Hinata was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. She covered herself with the quilt and said, "I don't care. I drank too much last night. I want to set the rules with you. You have to listen. If you don't listen, I won't talk to you anymore." "Set the rules again?" "Let's hear it." Hinata raised 3 fingers. "First, without my permission, you can't do anything to me that I don't want to." Naruto nodded. "Second, keep the second and third." Naruto nodded again. "Okay, but you have to promise me one thing." Hinata looked at Naruto carefully. "What?" Naruto looked at Hinata and smiled. "In the future, without my presence, you are not allowed to drink. Your alcohol tolerance is too bad." Chapter 619. Am I not good at drinking? Hinata pointed at herself and asked Naruto suspiciously. Naruto nodded seriously. Hinata wanted to refute, but when she thought of the video Naruto sent her just now, she could only pout. She could only pout and say, "All right then, I promise you. I've already agreed to your request. You have to agree to mine too." Naruto played dumb and said, "What do you want me to agree to?" Hinata repeated seriously, "Without my permission, you can't do anything to me that I don't want to do." Naruto raised his eyebrows and hesitated with a reluctant look. Hinata looked at Naruto seriously and waited for an answer. Then Naruto kissed Hinata's face. Hinata was embarrassed. "Naruto-kun, you didn't keep your promise." Naruto hugged Hinata and said with a wronged expression, "I didn't break my promise. I haven't promised you yet." With that, he kissed her again. He kissed her again. Hinata covered Naruto's hand tightly with her hand. Naruto's mouth was pressed, and he said incoherently, "Let me kiss you again. I'm afraid that when I agree to come with you, I won't be able to kiss you if you don't let me kiss you. So I want to kiss you as much as I want." Hinata was so angry. She pressed Naruto's mouth tightly. But suddenly, there was a hand behind her back combing her hair. "Hinata, your hair smells so good." It was Naruto's voice. She turned around and saw Naruto's clone. Then at the moment she looked at Naruto's clone, Naruto's clone leaned down and kissed her on the cheek. There was no way to stop it. "Naruto-kun, I'm really going to ignore you if you do this." Bang! The doppelganger was knocked out of the way. Naruto continued hugging Hinata. "Just one kiss. Let me kiss you again, and I'll agree to your condition." Hinata was conflicted. She wanted to firmly refuse, but, looking at Naruto's expectant look, she didn't want to. She didn't want to be rejected. Should she agree? Anyway, it was the last kiss, right? Hinata Bungaruo replied softly. Then okay, but I can only let you kiss me once. Hinata's hand was still pressing Naruto's mouth. Naruto reminded him. Then let go of my mouth. Naruto stretched out his tongue and licked Hinata's palm. Itchy. Hinata retracted her hand as fast as she could. Pervert. Hinata's face was red. Naruto looked at Hinata affectionately. I'm only perverted in front of you. Naruto's face moved closer. Feeling Naruto's breath, Hinata closed her eyes shyly. She repeatedly reminded herself in her heart that it was just one kiss. However, after Hinata closed her eyes, she didn't feel Naruto kiss her for a long time. Hinata couldn't help but open her eyes again. She saw Naruto looking at her with a smile. You teased me again? Hinata didn't dare to look at Naruto's eyes. She lowered her head and looked at Naruto's chest. Naruto replied, Why would I? I just thought that I can only kiss you once. I can't kiss you casually in the future, so I can't bear to kiss you. So, I've decided to leave this kiss for the future. Okay. Naruto's voice made Hinata's heart melt. Her heart was beating wildly. Did Naruto-kun really like to kiss her? For some reason, Hinata felt proud of herself. Okay then. Hinata's voice was as soft as a mosquito. Naruto hugged Hinata in his arms. Let me hug you for a while, okay? Hinata's body slightly stiffened then softened. She carefully leaned her head on Naruto's chest. Since it was Naruto's request, she couldn't refuse. Okay then. Naruto hugged for a long time. Feeling each other's existence, it was really a beautiful feeling. It was very fulfilling. It felt like he wasn't hugging a person but a whole world. But at the wrong time, there would always be some annoying guy who would disturb them. System prompt. Obito requests a call. For a moment, Naruto wanted to blacklist Obito. He connected. What's the matter? If it's not a big matter, I'll cripple you. Obito replied. Didn't we agree to seal the Hachibi today? Sealing the Hachibi is indeed a big matter. But Naruto really didn't want to let go of Hinata. Obito continued to report. Also, there's news from the Lightning Country. Reikage found that the Hachibi human pillar force is missing, and is mobilizing the entire Lightning Country to look for the Hachibi human pillar force. The Earth Country is also in the search range. So it's like that. Okay, I'll go back right away. Summon the Geto Mazo and wait for me. He hung up the call with Obito. Naruto closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Naruto's body smelled very good. It felt like a breath can calm the mind and nourish the brain. Feeling the change in Naruto, Hinata asked in a low voice, What's the matter? Naruto continued to hug Hinata and replied, Well, today I'm going to seal the Hachibi. Hinata raised her head and looked at Naruto. Then go, don't delay the business. Naruto stroked Hinata's back. Hinata is a chubby girl, so it feels good to the touch. Her whole body is soft. I haven't hugged enough. Hinata was a little shy. Then I'll let you hug me again when you come back. Hearing this sentence, Naruto's heart trembled. He really wanted to do Hinata on the spot. I can't hug her anymore. Naruto took the initiative to let go. Kiss me and I'll go. This doesn't count as that one chance, okay? Hinata felt her face was hot. Looking at Naruto, she bit her lip. Then she tiptoed and gently, like a chicken pecking rice, kissed Naruto's cheek. Well, it's a reward for you, you can go. Naruto's heart suddenly felt very happy. It feels good to be loved by someone. Thinking about the days when he was single and thinking about the present, the past was really tragic. Then I'll come back when I'm done. Wait for me at home. Hinata nodded gently. Naruto hugged Hinata and whispered in Hinata's ear. Will you live in my room in the future? I'll add another bed. I'll never cross the line before marriage, okay? In the future. Live in Naruto's room. Feeling Naruto's embrace, Hinata felt that she was about to be melted by Naruto. Should I agree? Naruto's request. But Tsunade-sama said that I can't let men get it easily, otherwise they won't cherish it. If I agree, will I be violating Tsunade-sama's words? Will Naruto not cherish me in the future? Why aren't you talking? Isn't this request too abrupt? It's okay, you can think about it slowly. I won't force you. I just want to live with you, so I'll have a home. A home? Is this what Naruto-kun wants? Hearing this sentence, Hinata's heart suddenly ached for no reason. For a long time, Naruto gave her the feeling that no matter where he went, he was always alone. When they were in Woodleaf it was. Later, when they left, Naruto had more people around him, but Naruto still gave her the feeling of a lonely back. No matter how many people Naruto knew, that feeling never dissipated. Chapter 620. The teleportation formation was activated, and a beam of light rose. Naruto smiled and waved at Hinata. At this time, Hinata finally recovered and replied, "I'll wait for you to come back." Boom. Light filled the air, and Naruto disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already in the Akatsuki's underground base. In the huge pit of the Earth Country beside Haiden. Ding. The calm space distorted again, and Naruto destroyed the traces of teleportation. Then he teleported to his room again. Unfortunately, he saw White Zetsu in his room. "Huh? Why are you in my room? What's the matter?" When White Zetsu saw Naruto, he hesitated for a moment, and his pupils suddenly dilated, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. These were very subtle changes that ordinary ninjas couldn't notice, but they were all captured by the perception enchantment. "There's a problem. There's something. You can talk to my main body, I'll go first." After saying that, White Zetsu's body disappeared underground, and his aura disappeared. Naruto glanced at the place where White Zetsu disappeared, and his fingers moved the Akatsuki's ring, and the corners of his mouth rose. He smiled helplessly. "Zetsu, I can't wait anymore." Obito sent a communication request, and Naruto made a seal with one hand. The next moment, Naruto's consciousness appeared on the finger of the Geto Mazo, the left little finger of the Geto Mazo, where the word void was. "Zetsu, did your clone just say you're looking for me?" Naruto asked Zetsu. On the Geto Mazo, except for Obito's projection, the others were projections of the colorful chakra. Zetsu replied, "There's something, but there's no hurry, let's talk about it after sealing the Hachibi." While talking, several others also came online. Haiden and Sasori were in the Snow Country. In fact, Naruto could also log in from the Snow Country, but sealing the Hachibi was a big deal after all. In order to prevent someone from finding the Akatsuki's base in the Earth Country and disturbing the seal, if Naruto's main body was there, he could respond in time. This was one of the reasons, and the second was to give Zetsu the illusion that he had always been living in the Akatsuki. It's just that, from White Zetsu's point, this was not far from being exposed. "Get ready, the seal is about to begin." Obito took the unconscious Hachibi human pillar force from Kamui's space and put it at the foot of the Geto Mazo. Then it returned to its original position and formed a seal. Release. The mouth on the Geto Mazo's mouth slit fell. S's mouth. Obito's hand seals changed, illusory dragon 9 seals. Under the control of Obito, 9 chakra dragons rushed out of the Geto Mazo's mouth and bit Killer Bee. A huge tentacled was pulled out. The Roro roared. Naruto. Spiritual's chakra. S. Zetsu's S. The scene in front of Naruto changed from Geto Mazo to Hachibi's sealed space. 9 tails human pillar force. It's not too late to stop now. I know you need to obtain more power first, but the power of the 10-tailed beast is not something you can possess. Naruto looked at Ghost Ox calmly. There was a trace of pity in his eyes. "Do you know why there are 9-tailed beasts?" The sudden question stunned the Hachibi. She replied, "We were created by the Sage of the 6 Paths. How would I know?" Naruto's spirit body was golden all over, like a god. Prayer beads were wrapped around his left hand. There was also a long saber floating behind him. Naruto said, "I didn't know this question in the past, but as I used the Death God's edge more and more, I gradually understood. Humans have 3 souls and 7 spirits. The 9 of you are one of them. You are the souls of Kagaya Otsutsuki." Ox Ghost stared at Naruto. "Nonsense. 3 souls and 7 spirits added together equal to 9? Are you kidding me?" Naruto said expressionlessly, "Ju. With Ju the 10 are complete. You don't know Ju, right?" He's standing on the ghetto golem. Sense it carefully. Is there any familiar aura on him? Ox Ghost frowned and said impatiently, I only feel the aura of disgust. Naruto's smile widened. That's because there is a power hostile to it in your body. It's not entirely correct to say that you are the souls of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Chakra is composed of spiritual power and vitality in the body. You are the spiritual power of Kagaya Otsutsuki, which is the soul, plus the world force extracted by the divine tree, plus the soul force of the sage of the six paths. Ox Ghost stared at Naruto. What nonsense are you talking about? How can the old man be in our bodies? Naruto replied. Whether I am talking nonsense or not, you will know soon. When the nine-tailed beasts gather together again, I believe the six paths will come out. Ox Ghost frowned. I don't care about that. I just want to tell you that the power of the Jubi is not something you can control. You should stop as soon as possible. Otherwise, you will be used by evil people. In the end, you will only lose. Naruto looked at Ox Ghost and sighed. Thank you for reminding me. But I also want to remind you. Although you have the will of the six paths in your body, you are not the six paths in essence. You are not Kagaya Otsutsuki. You are Ox Ghost now. Since you are an independent individual, you should be able to think independently. You and Ju were both born in the body of Kagaya Otsutsuki. Then why does Ju want to save his mother, but you want your mother to continue to sleep? Ox Ghost asked. Why are you thinking about this? Naruto mocked. It proves that you are being used. Your thoughts have been sealed. Right now you are not truly alive at all. Isn't that a very sad thing? Ox Ghost thought seriously and replied. So what if I think about it clearly? I will not be myself soon. I will return to the body of the Jubi. In your words, I will not be who I am now. Naruto looked at Ox Ghost, and the corner of his mouth cracked open. He asked like a charlatan. Then do you want to be really alive now? Live with an independent identity. Ox Ghost lowered his head as if he was thinking. You don't want to live without life? Even if I have lived for a long time, I still want to live now. I can meet all kinds of interesting people when I am alive. Saying this, Hachibi looked up at the sky. Killer Bee's soul appeared in front of him. Killer Bee closed his eyes as if he was sleeping. I want to continue living. Naruto also looked up at Killer Bee. He had to admit that Killer Bee was indeed a very infectious person. It made people feel close to him involuntarily. Just like the shark muscle in Kisame's hand. Although it was taken back by Reikage and given to Akatsuki, it returned to the hands of Kisame. But the shark muscle has been unhappy recently. I can promise you that I will let you live in the future. Chapter 621. I can promise you that I will let you live a real life in the future. What is a real life? How to live a real life. Before Ox Demon could understand Naruto's meaning, Naruto disappeared from his sight. The spiritual connection between the two was broken, and there was no response when he tried to connect again. The Geto Mazo's devouring speed was getting faster and faster. 12 hours later, the seal was completed. Success. This work is really tiring. Daida stretched his waist and began to complain. The other people's colorful projections were also a bit shaky at this time, not real. Obviously, Chakra's consumption was not small. Zetsu suddenly said, Next it's Nine-Tails' turn. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone looked at Naruto. Naruto looked at Zetsu, because it was a colorful projection. Naruto's expression couldn't be seen at this time. Yes, I am ready. By the way, before the seal, I remember that Senpai was looking for me for something, right? At the same time, a black shadow suddenly jumped out of Naruto's shadow. The black shadow attached to Naruto's body, and Naruto's skin was wrapped in a layer of black substance. Secret technique. Spiritual fusion. Black Zetsu said. Yes, I will go and have a good chat with you. Naruto's spiritual connection with the Akatsuki was interrupted. At the same time, Zetsu's projection also disappeared from the Geto Mazo. Such a change startled Obito, and quickly contacted Naruto through the spiritual network. Is there a problem? However, the person who returned to Obito was not Naruto, But Zetsu took control of Naruto's body and said with a grin, I didn't expect. There is indeed a problem with you. I am curious, Obito, what made you betray me? Have you forgotten Rin's death? The powerlessness at that time, and the hatred for the world. Have you forgotten all of it? Obito, who had his memory rewritten, had no impression of Rin, and at this moment he was only worried about Naruto. Zetsu, what are you going to do to Naruto? Ju was silent for a long time and then mocked. You are worried about this little guy? I don't know who killed this little guy's parents. What a poor child. He lost his parents when he was just born. Zetsu's words stimulated Obito. In Obito's rewritten memory, that scene was Madara's. Just when Obito was about to be enraged, Naruto said, Noisy, do you think you can control me just by entering my body? In the space sealed by 9 tails, Naruto's spirit body opened its eyes. Golden soul power swept out with Naruto as the center. Their spirit powers touched, and Naruto pulled Black Zetsu into the 9 tails sealed space. The moment Black Zetsu saw Naruto's spirit body, he was stunned. Naruto's spiritual power actually made him feel fear. How could such a thing happen? He was a special life form born from Kagaya's consciousness. He was the son of God. What's wrong with you? Black Zetsu questioned Naruto. Naruto's golden soul power was solemn and full of divine aura. You didn't even test my situation, and you dare to attack me. Who gave you the courage? Behind Naruto, the death god's edge vibrated. The unique soul pressure of the death god fell on Black Zetsu's body. Black Zetsu felt a burst of horror, and looked at the death god's edge again. He roared, This is impossible. This thing can't still be in the world. This thing was destroyed in the hands of the 6 paths. Naruto raised his hand, and the death god's edge fell into his hand. He wondered, Do you know this weapon? This thing is related to the 6 paths? Black Zetsu shook his head again and again. Impossible, this blade has been destroyed, impossible. Black Zetsu's fearful look made Naruto curious about the death god's edge in his hand. He said, You don't want to say? Then let me guess, this blade, could it be related to the 9-tailed beasts? The 6 paths used the power of this blade to cut out the 9-tailed beasts from Kagaya's body? Black Zetsu's soul power became unstable. Naruto knew that most of his guesses were correct, even if not all of them were correct. Naruto showed the prayer beads wrapped around his left hand to Black Zetsu. Do you know this thing? Black Zetsu looked at the beads blankly. He felt an aura from the beads that was similar to the blade in Naruto's hand. This is... I see, it seems that it is indeed destroyed. The beads and the blade are separated. Black Zetsu's emotions seemed to have stabilized again. Naruto frowned, and the blade in his right hand directly slashed down. The blade cut through Black Zetsu's body and divided him from 1 to 2. Black Zetsu's body twisted in pain. He roared, How is this possible? It is clearly destroyed. Naruto's brows relaxed. Forget it, I'm too lazy to ask you. Since it works on you, it's good. Naruto waved his blade again and slashed at Black Zetsu again. Black Zetsu was cut from 2 to 4. The painful scream made Black Zetsu's body twisted. I am immortal. Even if you have this blade, you can't kill me. Naruto sneered. Who said I was going to kill you? The prayer beads on Naruto's left hand scattered. Naruto's hand stretched and turned into 4 to grab Black Zetsu. Beads of sealing seal. Black Zetsu wanted to struggle, but his body was still pulled into Naruto's body. This scene was like the ghost sealing technique. For Black Zetsu were pulled into Naruto's spiritual body, and the prayer beads wrapped around Naruto's hand again. Black Zetsu was sealed like this. What are you doing? Black Zetsu's consciousness was still there. Naruto didn't look back and said to Obito, Give me Rinnegan. Obito saw that Naruto was communicating with him through the spiritual network, and he was relieved. Naruto's 5-star identity card is bound by a soul contract, and no one can use it except Naruto. Good. The next moment, Obito took the Rinnegan and sent it into the Kamui space. Rinnegan was transmitted from the Kamui space, which is the space in Preserved Egg's body, to Naruto's hand. Transplant surgery. Naruto's eyes were replaced with Rinnegan. The exclusive rules and privileges belonging to Rinnegan were handed over to Naruto's hands. When Naruto opened his eyes again, the world seemed to be different at this moment. Teleport. Naruto's body disappeared and appeared in a huge mine. This was the place where Hachibi was sealed. It's just that Geto Mazo had been sent back by Obito. Naruto felt carefully, and there was a connection that made Naruto feel the existence of Geto Mazo. Summoning technique. Naruto's hand pressed on the ground. On the moon, the sealed Geto Mazo responded to Naruto's summon and appeared under Naruto's feet. At the same time, the hollow moon began to shake. On the moon, a boy with closed eyes looked at the water ball in the starry sky. The seal has been opened again. What exactly is going on down there? I have to find a way to see. The Geto Mazo was summoned by Naruto's feet, and Naruto's hands formed a seal. Release. The mouth on the Geto Mazo slid down. Illusory Dragon 9 Seals. 9 chakra dragons came out of the Geto Mazo's mouth and bit Naruto's body. Naruto didn't summon the other members of the Akatsuki, and he wanted to seal the 9 tails by himself. Chapter 622. Spiritual Network. Naruto issued an order to the snow-capped mountain. Implement the plan to set things right. In the name of the land of earth, attack the land of lightning. Sasuke asked, "Do you need me to lead the team? Or continue to monitor Uchiha Itachi?" Naruto replied, "Don't worry, now your brother's eye is ineffective against me. I won't kill him. You can lead the team to attack the land of lightning. I want you to do your best and take down the land of lightning within a day." Uchiha Sasuke, Roger. Hinata was a little worried about Naruto. Is the plan ahead of schedule? Did something happen? Naruto comforted. It's nothing, it's just that the time is right. The time is right? That's right, if Black Zetsu didn't take action directly, Naruto's plan wouldn't be so fast. After explaining the situation of the snow-capped mountain, Naruto found Obito and returned his Sharingan. You go to the snow-capped mountain and transport the army. Obito, Roger. After everything was explained, Naruto closed his eyes. When I open my eyes again, I will see the world that belongs to me. Preserved Egg, did the will of the world find me? Preserved Egg replied. The will of the world has noticed you, but it hasn't recognized your identity as an outsider. As long as the rules of the Rinnegan are not completely swallowed, the will of the world can't find us yet. It hasn't found us yet? It's worth his hard work to analyze all the tailed beasts. Naruto closed his eyes, and the 9 dragon heads swallowed the 9 tails. 9 tails. 9 llamas, I will wake you up again later. 9 tails didn't answer. However, the speed of the 9 seals was faster. 9 tails had completely given up resistance. Naruto said in his heart, I will help you find the memory you lost in the starry sky. In the temporary base of the Akatsuki organization, 9 tails' chakra fluctuation made everyone feel uneasy. It's 9 tails' aura. Will Naruto be okay? Ghost Mermaid murmured worriedly. On the table in front of Ghost Mermaid, the bandaged mermaid abruptly opened its mouth and swallowed a mouthful of chakra, which had 9 tails floating in the air. Then, like a cat that smelled durian, he retched. Then he spat out the 9 tails chakra. Obviously, the shark muscles did not like the smell of 9 tails chakra. Ghost Mermaid glanced at Ji-Hao's weird muscles and said teasingly, You're quite picky about food. While speaking, he touched the shark meat with his hand. But all of a sudden, the shark meat opened its mouth and bit Ghost Mermaid's hand. Pain in the sky above the land of lightning, the morning fog rose. Obito stood inside the complete body Susanoo, looking down at the headquarters of the land of lightning in the land of fire. Behind Obito, the space was distorted, and a huge mouth opened in a black space. Finally, this day has come. Living until now, I'm really sinful. The first to walk out of the black space was Senju Tobirama, who was wearing an armor and floating in the air. Standing with Senju Tobirama was a little loli with beautiful red hair, Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Mito was not wearing an armor, and was suspended in the air by a disc under her feet. Uzumaki Mito replied, It's okay. Didn't Naruto and Yaisen say that those are all criminals who have committed heinous crimes? There's no need to feel too guilty about using their lives. Because they are criminals, There's no need to feel too guilty. If his brother knew that he had sacrificed 20 lives in order to live until now, presumably, he would not be able to avoid a beating. What if his brother knew that his sister-in-law was like this now? The picture was too beautiful to imagine. Let's wait until my wish is fulfilled and then slip away. His wish: destroy the lightning country and hand over the world to that person. In the past 3 years, he has witnessed too many miracles from that person. The prosperity and harmony of the snow country is the most ideal country in his mind. He believes that if the world is in the hands of that person, it will become better. Uzumaki Mito muttered. These people are all bad people who bully the Uzumaki clan. Let's capture them all and use them as experimental materials. Hearing this sentence, Senju Tobarama's mouth twitched. While he was still feeling guilty for sacrificing 20 lives, Zhang Ruochen was still thinking about it. His brother and sister-in-law were thinking about slaughtering the city. What a sin, what a sin! Everyone listened to the order. Tobarama shouted in a loud voice. Behind him, the sound of uniforms standing in the black space was connected. Attack! Those who surrender will not be killed. 2 shadows flew out of the black space, Uchiha Sasuke wearing an armor and Hinata with a pair of bat wings. The surface of Uchiha Sasuke's armor was covered with a layer of Susanoo armor. The bat wings behind Hinata were the small bat that turned on Sage mode. Now she is using the Ghost Jellyfish Jutsu and Hinata to assist in flight. Behind the two, there were 2 teams of armor troops. There were 3 vice-captains. There were nearly 1,000 members. Everyone in the team led by Sasuke had a dragon eagle. Hinata led the 2-winged tiger. Switch to the air combat mode. Collective Ghost Jellyfish Jutsu. Chakra was supplied by the chakra system. The entire army moved in unison. Fusion of people and ninja beasts. The Dragon Eagle armed forces stretched out a pair of powerful eagle wings behind them. The 2-winged tiger was similar to a centaur. Because they were all women with graceful curves, if they were not on a mission, there would be a burst of whistling. These girls were completely covered with armor, and their bodies were several times taller because of the 2-winged tiger, and the spear in their hands was extraordinarily heroic. Compared to them, the Dragon Eagle squad was petite. Therefore, in terms of combat, the 1st Division was good at being a scout, responsible for intelligence collection and launching surprise attacks. The 2nd Division was a fierce attack. Attack! Hinata ordered, and the 2nd Division raised their spear, flapped their wings, and flew straight to the Land of Lightning, sprinting into a 10-kilometer range. The Land of Lightning's security barrier was touched. The sentry who hadn't woken up looked up at the sky, and then the alarm rang. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! The spear pierced into the sentry tower, and chakra formed a wind blade storm. And a sentry tower was directly crushed. As for the living, there was no such thing. The wind blade on the spear was like a meat grinder, and it had already squeezed the juices out of people. It was cruel. But it was also lucky that the instant death didn't leave any pain. Above the sky, Tobarama clenched his fist. He muttered, "Attack with all your strength, hit the enemy until they are scared, and the loss will be minimized." Thunder and lightning suddenly appeared and Reikage roared. "Bastard, you are looking for death." Tobarama took a deep breath, and his voice was as loud as a bell. "In the name of the Land of Earth, we will crusade against the Land of Lightning. Those who surrender will not be killed. Rebels have no intact bones. 9 generations will be killed." Tobarama's voice, under the blessing of special runes, formed a sound wave and pushed toward the Land of Lightning. After listening, Reikage's eyebrows wrinkled into a knot. The Land of Earth? Isn't that old guy dead? Looking at the humanoid beasts wearing unknown armor, he had never seen them before. Reikage rushed to one of them, intending to test the enemy's strength. In his view, with so many soldiers, the mass-produced soldiers shouldn't be much stronger. Reikage. Shameless boasting. After the army, Hinata's bat wings suddenly flapped, and her speed increased sharply, facing Reikage. Sasuke was one step ahead and said, "I will do it." Hinata entered the Sage mode and overtook Sasuke. The 1st Division will assist. The attack is the 2nd Division's business. Hinata's speed made Sasuke, who was using Mangekyo Sharingan, feel dazzled. Why does this girl feel like a different person? What happened when I was not in the land of snow? Hinata and Reikage met. Gentle fist, heaven palm. With one palm, Reikage was directly hit. Seeing this, the first team's morale soared. And like a tiger entering a flock of sheep, they followed closely behind Hinata. The second division suddenly felt their scalp tingling. The same thought popped up in their minds at the same time. These women have gone crazy again. Chapter 623. After Reikage was hit, the shock in his heart couldn't be any more. He was actually sent flying by a woman's palm strike. A woman. And this person is not Tsunade. It's just a woman I don't know. Come again. Reikage roared. Lightning gathered outside his body and formed a shockwave, shaking the debris that fell on his body. With the blessing of the lightning armor, his body was activated, and his potential was stimulated to the extreme. Reikage was like a cannonball, and he blasted toward Hinata. Ninjutsu, lightning cannon. Hinata didn't dodge. She bent her right elbow and raised her palm. The modified version of Gentle Fist plus fire release called Flame Palm. Hinata faced Reikage, falling from the sky, and pushed out her palm. Before the two met, the invisible palm imprinted on Reikage's abdomen. The lightning armor was dented and deformed, and a handprint was forced out. The handprint continued to sink deeper and deeper, until it penetrated Chakra's armor. Hinata's compressed chakra rushed into Reikage's acupuncture point. Explosion! With a loud bang, Reikage's abdomen was engulfed in flames, and a huge flame bomb exploded. And Reikage was swallowed by the explosion, and heavily bombarded on the ground again. Surrender, I won't kill you. Hinata didn't pursue again. She looked down at the smoke-filled pit, and she was domineering. At the bottom of the pit, Reikage held his abdomen in pain, and his body was curled up like a shrimp. Hinata's chakra exploded in his aperture points, and even though he has been training his body for a long time, he couldn't withstand it. If it was someone else, they would have been blown to pieces. Woo! Reikage gritted his teeth and stood up from the ground. The wound on his abdomen was very painful, and it felt like being fried in a pot of hot oil. Large beads of sweat rolled down his face. He was defeated, and he was defeated very quickly. The disparity in strength made him feel scared. Reikage bent his body, lowered his head, and pressed his hands on his knees. His body trembled, and he barely stood. Little girl, what's your name? Hinata replied. Hinata. Hyuga? The Hyuga clan of Woodleaf? Reikage suddenly raised his head. He asked, Are you from Konoha? At the same time, a white-haired man rushed out and looked at Hinata with joy. Hinata? Where is Naruto? Hinata turned to look at the person. It was a young-looking man. He had white hair. White hair. Chakra focused her eyes and activated Byakugan. You are Jiraiya-sama? Jiraiya lifted the transformation jutsu. Scratching his head, he laughed and said, I was actually seen through at a glance. Very powerful. Where's Naruto? Reikage narrowed his eyes and stared at Jiraiya. Jiraiya, one of the Sannin of Woodleaf, is here, but I'm curious why you didn't do anything when we attacked Woodleaf. Could it be? I know you're waiting for me to unify the world. Then you'll stand up and deal with me, so the world is yours. It seems that I underestimated Woodleaf. The village established by First Dame Naruto shocked me both in strategy and strength. Jiraiya listened and looked at Hinata. Hinata didn't answer and repeated again. The Lightning Country has been defeated. Continuing will only increase the casualties. Reikage gritted his teeth and squeezed out the words from his teeth. You want me to surrender? Since the Lightning Country has been defeated, what's the value of their life to me? Don't think it's so easy to take away my Lightning Country. Reikage suddenly burst out. He punched Jiraiya. Jiraiya quickly made hand seals, chaotic lion jutsu. In the blink of an eye, Jiraiya's white hair grew wildly and completely wrapped Jiraiya, turning him into a sea urchin with thorns. Sneak attack me? You're too young. Jiraiya was very proud. Then he shouted to Hinata, Leave this madman to me. You go deal with others. Hinata didn't know how to deal with it for a while, but fortunately, Tobirama came. Little guy, go play with the mud, it's none of your business. Tobirama looked at Jiraiya indifferently. According to the seniority, Jiraiya was indeed a little guy to the former second dame Naruto. Jiraiya and Tsunade were the same generation, and Tobirama was Tsunade's grandfather. What did you call me? Jiraiya couldn't believe it, and he looked at Tobirama. This face is so familiar. Huh? Have we met somewhere before? Reikage saw someone coming again. He immediately stopped and fled. Hinata caught up before Jiraiya. Jiraiya wanted to chase, but he was blocked by Tobirama. No wonder Tsunade doesn't like you. You don't even have the eyesight to recognize people. Jiraiya heard Tobirama's words and frowned. Who the hell are you? Tobirama said his name. Tobirama Senju. Jiraiya's pupils shrank sharply, and then he quickly reacted. Naruto, that brat actually used Edo Tensei? Such a vicious ninjutsu has been listed as a forbidden book, and he still dares to use it. Jiraiya was furious and was about to reprimand Naruto. Tobirama interrupted. Do you have a problem with the ninjutsu I developed? Jiraiya's expression froze. Times are different. This Edo Tensei is indeed listed as a forbidden technique now. Tobirama looked at Jiraiya with an expressionless face. He said, Sasuke, how long are you going to watch? Come and get rid of this guy. At the same time, on the moon, a huge golden eye was watching the battle in the ninja world. Infighting. 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 In addition to infighting, it's still infighting. The world created by the Rikudo Sennin is too disappointing. There is no reason for such a world to continue to exist. A young man with closed eyes whispered. What should I do? Now the Geto Mazo is no longer in the moon. It seems meaningless for our clan to continue to stay here. Then it's better to go to the ground and do something meaningful. The young man closed his eyes and muttered to himself a few times, and suddenly said to the people behind him, What do you think? Behind the young man, there were many guys with pointed hats floating. Human figures, loose robes completely covered their bodies. They also wore the same mask on their faces. There was no verbal response. Those people just bowed their heads respectfully and waited again. The young man closed his eyes and sighed. You guys are so boring. I hope there will be some interesting guys on the ground. I've decided I'm going to the ground. But first I have to find a pair of eyes. Mind's eye jutsu, although I can see things, it's still too blurry. Where are the eyes? The young man communicated with the huge golden eye with mind's eye jutsu. His sight fell on the snow country. In the virtual world, in the Hyuga clan's room, there was a very cute little girl there. I'll borrow her eyes first. Chapter 624. On the moon. The huge golden Tensigen formed by many Byakugan opened a passage to the ground. The passage was like a slender pipe filled with water, with huge bubbles made of special rules floating inside. No, it was more like an elevator, because those bubbles were carrying the youth to the ground against the characteristics of buoyancy. At the same time, in the land of lightning, Sasuke cut off most of Jiraiya's hair. The old man who cut off Jiraiya's waist-length curly hair was the most unlucky. Sasuke, you're serious? Jiraiya, who had most of his hair cut off, was scared and furious. If he hadn't dodged in time, it would have been his head that was cut off. Sasuke didn't answer, and the long sword in his hand slashed at Jiraiya again. Manjikyu Sharingan Genjutsu activated. Night-killing jutsu. This ninjutsu is a fusion of night-walking jutsu and Wood Leaf's 3 sun and moon dance. Based on Manjikyu Sharingan's powerful genjutsu, depriving and controlling the enemy's 5 senses and creating night. Then combining physical attacks with genjutsu, he hid in many shadows and launched an attack. There was no sound. The long sword cut through Jiraiya's neck. Ding. The sound of metal colliding was heard. It was Jiraiya's hair. Jiraiya's hands formed hand seals, and the broken hair grew rapidly and wrapped around Jiraiya in the blink of an eye. Needle Xidigarba. Jiraiya's hair stabbed around like a sea urchin. Puff. 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 The sound of clones being broken sounded one after another. Sasuke's clones hidden in the shadows were swept away. His attack didn't work. Sasuke frowned. He looked at the long sword in his hand. The blade was curved. The long sword looked like a Kusanagi sword. It was returned to him by Naruto. Naruto said that this was his Kusanagi sword. Obviously, he was tricked by Naruto. What a waste of time. Sasuke threw away the sword in his hand. A spare long sword without a handle popped out of the armor. Holding the sword with both hands, the fire element chakra in his left hand, and the lightning element chakra in his right hand. Fusion. Sasuke's self-created bloodline limit cleansing escape. The dark chakra gathered on the sword and once again slashed at Jiraiya. The long sword pierced through Jiraiya's sea urchin-like metal hair. Plop. Jiraiya's body fell to the ground. You really want to kill me? Sasuke withdrew his sword. Cleansing escape had been forced by second Naruto to fuse with it. In second Naruto's words, if Naruto could fuse with the blood limit boundary, then he should be able to do so as well. At the same time, this is also one of the 3 conditions to unseal the Sharingan. You're weaker than I thought. Sasuke replied and turned to leave. Jiraiya, who was cut in half, opened his mouth and said, "Since I'm about to die, tell me why," Sasuke replied. "I didn't intend to kill you. You're just too weak." Jiraiya smiled bitterly. Am I too weak? Jiraiya suddenly grabbed Sasuke's foot and formed a seal. Yellow Spring Swamp. The ground softened, Sasuke's body suddenly sank, and half of his body sank into the flowing swamp. Jiraiya formed a seal with both hands. Summoning Jutsu. The space distorted, and a huge toad appeared in front of Sasuke. An intact Jiraiya sat cross-legged on the toad and looked down at Sasuke with a smile. Do you still think I'm weak? Boom. Jiraiya, who was lying on the ground with Sasuke, disappeared. It turned out to be a clone technique. When Sasuke glanced around, and his eyes fell on an open space. It should have been full of Jiraiya's hair, but now Jiraiya's hair was gone. At that time, Jiraiya on the toad saw that Sasuke could still remain calm and praised. You're still so calm after being imprisoned by me. This is very good. Now I'll ask you questions, and you'll be responsible for answering. If I'm satisfied, I'll let you go. The first question is, why did you attack me? Didn't you attack the land of lightning for the wood leaf? Sasuke glanced at Jiraiya and sneered. You call this imprisonment? With that, a pair of eagle wings opened behind Sasuke, and with a sudden flap he pulled himself out of the swamp. He rose into the air, disappeared in the blink of an eye, and appeared behind Jiraiya. Cleanse release. One sword. Jiraiya's cheeks puffed up as he turned his head. Flame bullet. A scorching fireball sprayed toward Sasuke. Jiraiya, be careful behind you. The toad's eyes widened, and he slashed toward Sasuke, who appeared behind Jiraiya. Jiraiya frowned. He didn't feel the existence of Sasuke. Was the toad controlled by Genjutsu? Or was he under Genjutsu? While Jiraiya was stunned, Sasuke's sword and the toad's sword slashed together. The sword passed through, and the sword fell on the toad's body. Feeling the fatal threat, the toad chose to leave. With a bang, the toad cancelled the summoning jutsu. Sasuke passed through the vaporized clouds, landed, turned around, and slashed at Jiraiya again. It turned out that I was under Genjutsu. The Uchiha's Dojutsu is really powerful. At the moment when the toad left, Jiraiya finally felt the existence of Sasuke. He avoided Sasuke's attack. Jiraiya stared at Sasuke. Now your Genjutsu is ineffective against me. I can already feel you. Sasuke didn't continue to attack, and his eyes fell on his body. There was a layer of oil on the surface of the mech armor. Sasuke instantly understood that this was left by the toad. It stuck to him as he passed through the fog. Cunning toad, Jiraiya's hands formed seals, and his mouth puffed up. Flame bullet. The fiercely burning fireball smashed towards Sasuke. The armor was detached. The flame bullet hit the mech armor, and the fierce flames crackled. The mech armor was burning brightly, as if it was about to melt. Jiraiya looked at the iron lump in front of him. He didn't see Sasuke. Was the scene in front of him real? Was he still in the Genjutsu? Shadow Clone Jutsu. One Jiraiya turned into 3. The 3 Jiraiyas formed seals at the same time. One formed the Heavenly Cover Seal. 2 Summoning Jutsu. Jiraiya's hand pressed on the ground. A sword slashed down from the sky, cutting through Jiraiya's Summoning Jutsu. One of the 2 Summoning Jutsu failed. The other one was Fukasaku's Sunnin. You want to use Senjutsu mode? It seems that you've recognized me and decided to go all out. Sasuke appeared in front of Jiraiya. Jiraiya frowned and asked, "You know this?" Sasuke replied, Naruto told me. He said that when you summoned the two old toads, it was when you used Senjutsu mode. Fukasaku Sennin asked, "What's the situation?" Jiraiya replied, "I met a difficult opponent, I need to figure out something, so I have to end this quickly." Fukasaku suddenly said, "Behind." Jiraiya subconsciously turned his head, and Fukasaku suddenly stabbed Jiraiya's abdomen. Jiraiya looked at the old toad in front of him in disbelief. The genjutsu was lifted. Sasuke looked at Jiraiya with a calm expression. He said, "Both summoning jutsu failed." Jiraiya understood. At the same time, a sword was placed on Jiraiya's neck. It was a metal armor. There was no one in the metal armor. Remote control system. Jiraiya smiled bitterly. "It seems that I lost." The Mangekyo Sharingan in Sasuke's eyes was lifted. P.S. July 23rd, Sasuke Koen's birthday. This chapter wishes Sasuke Koen a happy birthday. P.S. Sasuke. No, I want red envelopes. I want money. Chiobo wants to reward Sasuke Koen with money. Chapter 625. Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan was lifted. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke with appreciation. Feeling Jiraiya's gaze, Sasuke frowned. "You're under arrest." Jiraiya asked back, "You won't kill me?" The sword inserted in his chest seemed dangerous, but it didn't actually hit his vital points. Sasuke replied with a cold face, "If you want to die, I can help you." Jiraiya smiled. At this moment, the hair on Jiraiya's hand suddenly attacked Sasuke, stabbing straight at Sasuke. Sasuke was forced to retreat. Jiraiya took the opportunity to escape. "It's really thrilling. If you kill me directly, I may really die here today." Jiraiya pulled out the sword from his body, then made a hand seal with one hand, and disappeared with a bang. Sasuke's face was very ugly, staring at the place where Jiraiya disappeared. This is the consequence of not killing him directly. Tobirama replied, "Naruto still wants him to be a witness, he can't die yet." Sasuke's face was even more ugly. Troublesome guy. Sasuke looked at the fake Kusanagi sword inserted in the ground, and his mood became worse. When he sees Naruto again, he will have to talk to Naruto. Sasuke hesitated and walked closer to pick up the sword. With his understanding of Naruto, if there is no evidence, this guy will most likely act shamelessly. It's not impossible to blame him again. For example, he lost the Kusanagi sword. Then this guy will take out the Kusanagi sword and say that he got it back. It's better to use various reasons to keep the sword. That's a shameless guy. Tobirama said to Sasuke, "Go after the ninjas of the Land of Lightning." After Raikage escaped, many people escaped. Sasuke nodded. But suddenly his body stiffened, and then his body began to shrink. What's going on? Sasuke checked his body in horror. The system's health scan was normal, but his body continued to shrink. From 1.8 meters to 18 centimeters, and turned into a frog. Wahahaha. How does it feel to become a frog? Hiss. The disappeared Jiraiya appeared again. While coughing blood, he ridiculed Sasuke. Because of the wound was affected by the laughter, Jiraiya grimaced in pain. Then he formed a seal with one hand and disappeared with a bang. Sasuke. Tobirama. Obviously, Jiraiya came out this time to annoy Sasuke. The toad transformation jutsu, no. It's just a transformation jujitsu. Tobirama looked as turned into a frog frog. Smile unexpectedly with a smile. If this style is uploaded to the video section, it will sell like hotcakes, right? Tobirama heard this and his eyes lit up. Sasuke opened his mouth to say something, but only one syllable came out of his mouth. Quack! Obito and Tobirama burst into laughter. Obito's system panel. System prompt. Image recording is successful. System store prompt. The item Sasuke turns into a frog has been priced. System store prompt. The item Sasuke turns into a frog has been sold. System prompt. Mercenary Academy Teacher System page successfully opened. Academy Store. The item Sasuke turns into a frog has been sold. Academy Store. The item Sasuke turns into a frog has been sold. Sasuke's System Panel. System Prompt. Found your exclusive tagged item, check? Sasuke had a bad feeling in his heart. He opened the System Store. Sasuke turns into a frog, author ID, masked handsome. Obito really hung him up, System Prompt sounded again. Found your exclusive tagged item, check? Check again. Sasuke turns into a frog, version 2-inch author ID, Lord Tobirama. Sasuke gnashed his teeth in hatred. The most excessive thing was that both items were soon listed in the hot sales area. And there was also a product push area. Too much. Too much. Manjikyu Sharingan open. The frog transformation jutsu was forced to be dispelled by a powerful mental attack. Jiraiya's chakra attached to Sasuke was dispelled. After Sasuke returned to normal, he looked at the two people around him with a dark face. Obito turned around and left. I think I should go after the fugitive. Obito slipped away. As Sasuke's teacher, Tobirama patted Sasuke on the shoulder and said with a kind face, "We'll split the points." Sasuke's face was even darker. The first team members tacitly avoided looking at their captain. The second team didn't spoil him at all. The group of women were already laughing. Especially those who pursued Sasuke in the past and were rejected. They laughed particularly happily. At the same time, in the land of Earth, Naruto, who was sealing the 9 tails, received a message. It was from Gurney. Look at the goods area, there's something good. Naruto clicked on it and burst out laughing. System Prompt. Sasuke requests a call. Why did Sasuke call him at this time? It was nothing more than taking that shameful item off the shelves. Naruto was very smart and directly set the system mode to do not disturb. The seal of the 9 tails has reached the best moment. Naruto's consciousness entered the sealed space of the 9 tails. The tearing of the illusory dragon 9 tails was the process of breaking the chakra, and the pain was unbearable for ordinary people, but the stubborn 9 tails didn't make a sound. Among the 9-tailed beasts, even Bull Demon couldn't help but curse. Naruto looked at 9 tails. 9 tails looked down at Naruto with an arrogant face. Naruto bowed to 9 tails. Teacher 9 Lamas, although we used to scheme against each other, we have accepted each other in the end. We are teacher and disciple and also friends. In the future, I will return this favor. Also, I will help you find your lost memories. 9 tails looked at Naruto quietly. After a long silence, 9 tails' body began to fade. It became fainter and fainter. This was a sign that the seal was about to end. Finally, just as it was about to completely disappear, it spoke. What you said might be true. The dessert is really delicious. Kyuubi glanced at Naruto, turned into a light mist, and disappeared. The dessert was really delicious? Naruto's face showed a smile. After 9 tails lost his memories, he and 9 tails talked a lot about the past. One of them was about dessert. And he ate a lot every day. Don't worry, I will return this favor. 9 tails' seal was completed. The Ghetto Maza was completely alive. 9 eyes disappeared. A huge flower bud grew out of 9 tails' back. The flower bud grew bigger and bigger as if it could bloom at any time. The 10 broken tails were quickly repaired. The chains on the wrists were directly broken. Roar! The mountain collapsed, and 9 tails struggled to rush out of the ground. Naruto communicated with 10 tails with Rinnegan, and the illusory dragon 9 seals continued. Seal Black Zetsu. Black Zetsu didn't resist, his eyes stared at 10 tails, and his mouth said, "Mom." The speed of sealing Black Zetsu was very fast. Compared to the tailed beast, Black Zetsu had too little chakra. "Mom, I'm back." The seal of Black Zetsu was successful, and Naruto communicated with 10 tails with Rinnegan. Seal. Naruto established a spiritual connection with 10 tails, and an old man appeared in front of Naruto, sitting cross-legged in the air, with 2 horns on his head, with a pair of Rinnegan. Sage of the 6 Paths child, did power make you lost? Chapter 626. The water droplets fell on the surface of the water, spreading across the valley. Layers of ripples spread out, turning into waves. Child, have you lost yourself in power? The voice was low and deep, with a hint of weariness. Naruto looked at the source of the voice. The Sage of Six Paths was wearing a jade robe, holding a staff in his arms. He was sitting cross-legged in the air, looking at him with pity. The Sage of Six Paths' face was very white and old, like the bark of a dried birch tree. Of course, the most eye-catching thing was the pair of horns on his head, and the long beard that hung down to his chest. Naruto looked at the Sage of Six Paths, and the Sage of Six Paths was also looking at Naruto. At this time, Naruto was in a spiritual body, but the golden light on his body faded away, and his appearance was exactly the same as his original body. You don't seem too surprised to meet me. Naruto finally said. Surprised, of course I'm surprised. Because I'm so surprised, I'm a bit confused. I wonder why an old man appeared after the fusion of the nine-tailed beasts. The Sage of Six Paths was speechless. I'm not the fusion of the nine-tailed beasts. Before the Sage of Six Paths could finish, Naruto interrupted. Oh, you're not? Then I'm not interested in who you are. Please don't stand in my way. Thank you. The Immortal of the Six Paths was frustrated as he was rebutted halfway. He opened his mouth, but suddenly he was speechless. It was the first time for the Sage of Six Paths to experience something like this. Naruto saw that the Sage of Six Paths opened his mouth but didn't say anything, so he continued. Is there anything wrong with you? Do you want me to take you to the hospital? Or let me take a look at you? I'm quite proficient in medical ninjutsu, but my fee is higher. The Immortal of Six Realms took a deep breath and finally said, I'm not sick. Naruto's caring expression suddenly turned into disgust. Not sick? If you're not sick, then why are you pretending? I think you're seriously sick. The deity of the Six Realms was enraged. His spiritual pressure rose and he scolded. Shut up. Naruto used Rinnegan to offset the pressure. The pressure was useless against Naruto. The Immortal of Six Paths frowned and calmed himself down. With a weak voice, he introduced himself. I am the Immortal of the Six Paths. Naruto's eyes widened, and he raised his voice. Oh. Seeing Naruto's reaction, the Sage of the Six Paths' expression softened a little. But to his surprise, the next moment Naruto asked, I don't know him. The frown on Immortal of Six Paths' face deepened, and the wrinkles on the corners of his eyes were so deep that they could almost pick up paper. He could tell that the little guy in front of him was making fun of him. Mischievous. How rude. Naruto replied, I don't know if I'm being rude or if you're being rude, but you pulled me into your spiritual world without my consent or greeting me. Is this your etiquette? Or do you think that it's an honor for me to meet you, so you can do whatever you want? The Sage of the Six Paths was stunned by Naruto's scolding, and he began to think seriously. Did he really do something wrong? His expression softened a lot, and he explained, My body has fallen, and this is the only way to meet you. Naruto asked, Your body has fallen? You're dead? The Sage of the Six Paths suddenly felt that every word he said to this guy in front of him was like eating a fly. No, it's a game. But he still nodded in agreement with Naruto's words. He explained, I fused my chakra into the bodies of the nine-tailed beasts. When the nine-tailed beasts are reunited, I can appear again to prevent the tragedy from happening again. Naruto nodded and replied, I see, I understand. My father also sealed chakra into the nine tails in my body, and then reappeared the moment the nine tails seal was completely removed. The Sage of the Six Paths praised, Then your father must love you very much. Naruto replied, I know, is there anything else? If not, please let me go. If not, I'll rush out by myself. The Sage of the Six Paths said seriously, I came to see you because you're doing something wrong. I've seen the result of gathering power into one body. That was my mother. She only brought disaster to the world. I don't want you to follow her path. Naruto asked, Your mother? The Sage of the Six Paths nodded seriously, and then he told Naruto about Kagaya's life. In summary, she was such a kind woman. After obtaining power, she became arrogant because of it, and brought great disaster to the world. After hearing this, Naruto asked, So you're here to stop me? The sage of the six paths' expression was sorrowful, as if he was still immersed in his mother's sin. Naruto asked, so in the end, you sealed your mother on the moon, which is, the 10 tails formed from the fusion of the 9-tailed beasts? The sage of the six paths nodded again. Naruto asked, then you're going to seal me too? The sage of the six paths shook his head. I'm here to persuade you to help me seal my mother again. Now that the 9-tailed beasts have fused together, she can wake up at any time. At that time, it will be a disaster for the world. Naruto dragged out the word "oh." Right, you said that you sealed your mother who went berserk, right? The sage of the six paths replied, yes. Naruto continued, since you can seal your mother, then you must be stronger than her at that time, right? The sage of the six paths nodded again. Naruto frowned. Then after you have great power, you can do good things. Why can't I? Are you the only one in the world who can be a hero? Why? How much money did you bribe the director? The sage of the six paths was dumbfounded. Naruto waved his hand impatiently. The dead shouldn't meddle in the affairs of the living. Since you're already dead, you can die in peace. I don't agree with your twisted logic. If you still think you're right, then go find someone else. The sage of the six paths looked at Naruto with a complicated expression and said seriously, that person can only be you. Because you're my son, the reincarnation of Azura. Only you can accept my power. Naruto said unhappily, old man, that's too much. If you want to talk, then talk nicely. Don't just call me your son. I don't have those monster horns on my head. By the way, don't lie to me. I can tell at first glance that you're not a good person. Stop pretending. Which normal person has 2 horns on their head? The sage of the six paths' face turned red with anger. How long has it been since someone mocked his horns? The last time someone mocked him was when he was a child. At that time, everyone thought of him as a monster. No one wanted to get close to him. He was treated like a plague. The only one who protected him was his mother. Mother? The sage of the six paths' expression suddenly became complicated. Chapter 627. Mother. The sage of the six paths whispered and couldn't help but reminisce. In a trance, he dreamt of the past. Old roads, short streets, small alleys. The rain-soaked soil was full of mud, and the streets were lined with uneven bluestones of various sizes. Water droplets rolled down from the roof tiles, dripping down from time to time. He was playing with his younger brother in the courtyard of his mansion. At that time, several children around his age climbed up the wall of his house. Look, I was right, that guy with horns on his head is a monster. He looked over. The people on the wall panicked. Oh no. We've been discovered. Run. In the panic, the children threw a few stones at him before they ran. His forehead was broken and blood flowed down. He was crying. Yui, be a good boy, don't cry. Mommy will avenge you. His gentle mother hugged him in her arms, but he was pushed away by the young and immature boy. Monster. Don't touch me. It's all your fault. Why am I your son? Why did you give birth to me? He ran away, leaving his mother stunned by the scolding. That day, his mother avenged him, and the children who climbed up his wall were executed along with their families. But he wasn't grateful to his mother, because the villagers looked at him with even more fear. He blamed everything on his mother. The sage of the six paths looked at his young self and his grieving mother in his memories. At that time, Naruto's voice came from his ears. You're too much. How could you say such things to your mother who loved you so much? Is this the darkness in your heart? You don't want to admit that you're a monster. You put all the blame on your mother. You even killed your mother who loved you to prove that you're innocent. How preposterous. Is this your justice? The water droplets on the roof tiles stopped, as if someone pressed the pause button on the entire world. Naruto appeared next to the sage of the six paths. His expression was full of pity and disdain. You said that your mother was evil, but in my opinion, it was you who drove your mother crazy. You hate your mother. Your mother hates the world because of your hatred. Should I say that you are pitiful for having such a mother? Or should I say that your mother is pitiful for having a son like you? Or perhaps you are all very pitiful. The scene shattered and returned to the Sage of Six Paths' spiritual world filled with water. The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto and said, "You used an illusion on me," Naruto said with a smile. "Facts have proven that you, who only have a soul, have a certain degree of control over the rules, but you can't compare to my pair of real Rinnegan." The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto. This meeting between father and son really surprised him. The Sage of the Six Paths looked at the water below Naruto's feet. A human face was reflected there. It was his son Azura. He found the right person. "Is there anything else you need from me? If not, then let me go. You should know that this place can't trap me. I just don't want to hurt you. After all, you're just a homeless soul." The Sage of Six Paths stared at Naruto. Naruto continued, "Do you still want to deny your sins? A person's spiritual world is a reflection of a person's true nature. Your spiritual world is dark and lifeless, filled with the aura of death. The water here is also your sorrow, isn't it?" The scenery around changed. Behind Naruto, the Geto Mazo rose from the water. It wasn't a real existence, but rather an illusion created by Naruto's illusion. Naruto evaluated the Geto Mazo and commented, "Geto Mazo, is that the name you gave your mother? Tsk Tsk Tsk. And the chains on her hands, did you put them on yourself? And the mouth, scroll, it was also you who put it on, right? Look at how much pain your mother is in." The Sage of Six Paths' expression became more and more unpleasant. Naruto suddenly laughed. "Fine, I won't touch on your scars. But before I leave, I want to say one more thing. Even if you kill your mother, you won't be able to stand on the side of humanity. Your mother still has the love of a mother. You are nothing but a pitiful worm who wants to be recognized." The Sage of Six Paths didn't let Naruto out. Naruto lifted his foot and took a step forward, and the sound of the mirror shattering exploded. He walked out of the Sage of Six Paths' spiritual world and connected with the Jubis. The Jubis' immense mental power came straight at Naruto. Naruto didn't move at all. "I'm not your enemy." The Rinnegan was activated. "I'm your new master. From now on, your sins will be redeemed by me." The Earth Country. At the bottom of the sunken basin, Naruto, who was lying on top of broken rocks, opened his eyes. The bright red Rinnegan looked like two bloody moons. "My power has indeed grown stronger." What a useless statement. Naruto stood up, stepped into the air, and looked down at the earth. Looking down at the sunken ground, Naruto raised his hand. The mountain that was blown up by the Jubi's riot rolled back from all directions and reformed into a mountain. "This feeling is really good." A smile appeared on Naruto's face. At this moment, in Naruto's spiritual world, the bloated Jubi shrank at a speed visible to the naked eye and turned into a human form. Then she was curvaceous and had graceful curves. Long white hair cascaded down to the heel like a waterfall. Oval face, white and tender skin, the type that Naruto likes. His eyebrows were a very special bean-shaped eyebrow. This made Naruto think of the husky with two white spots. "Whose master are you?" The woman opened her eyes, and her cold voice was like a white wind blowing from the bottom of the snow country. Naruto's consciousness appeared in the sealed space. "You regained consciousness so quickly? Is it because of Black Zetsu?" Otsutsuki Kagaya didn't answer, and raised her hand to press on the seal. Creak. A crack appeared on the sealing bead. The seal was about to collapse. Rinnegan control. However, it was ineffective. "Century egg. Come out. Didn't you say there was no problem?" Naruto shouted. Then a hairy white arm stretched out from the giant egg and pressed on Otsutsuki Kagaya through the seal. The palm turned into a huge mouth and bit off Kagaya's arm. But instead of swallowing it, she spat it out. "Be honest, if you make any more trouble, I will eat you." Otsutsuki Kagaya was stunned. Naruto was also stunned. This kind of comprehensive suppression is too cool. "Century egg, not bad." Naruto patted the giant egg happily. Century egg replied, "If there is nothing else, don't call me again. Once I am discovered, I can't continue." In the land of thunder, Reikage was caught by Hinata. Sasuke was constantly sending messages to Naruto with a black face. Suddenly, Sasuke's vision turned black. An old man with a white beard appeared in front of him. What's the situation? Genjutsu? Sasuke subconsciously opened Mangekyo Sharingan, but it was ineffective. I am Six Paths Sunnin. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.